Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to council for November 4th, 2025. And as soon as the clerk gets here, we'll be ready to start. Morning, Jenny. Nice to see you, Short. Before all that, well, that was calling the meeting to order. Before we get started, Julie, you have someone to introduce this morning. So.
Yes, I just wanted to take a couple minutes to introduce Ella Farrell to council. Ella is our new township building planning public works administrative assistant, so she's been with us for a few weeks now. We're happy to have her on board and looking forward to working with her. You want to do a quick introduction to her with everyone?
Sure. Well, are you? All right, I will. Oh, I'm having seen it long. All right.
Ella and I are back.
Okay, yes.
And we're already working together on a number of things.
Just having seen you.
That's okay.
Jim Pickard from the Streetburg area, Valerie Gersten,
Ward 3.
Ward 3, sort of Mount Elgin to Salford sort of area. You know, Adam Proust, I'm sure, George Way, Ward 4, north of Salford, and Councillor Gillis, who is Craig Gillis, who's the Beachville area. I'm David Maybury, and I think your claim to fame is that you raised a very good mother that works very well with the county. And okay. Other than that, welcome to Southwest Southfield. I hope you enjoyed the experience here.
Thank you, yeah.
We intend that you stay for life. Might as well be straight up with you. So, I'm not sure you read the fine print contract, but anyways, and of course, if you'd like to live in Southwest Southfield, we'd be more than happy to have you as a resident. So, you need to met your parents. So.
Yeah, they probably love it.
Okay, what should we know about Ella?
I'm happy to be here.
So far?
Yeah, so far I'm enjoying my time. I'm learning a lot. It's both chaotic and fun at the same time, and I'm just diving right into it.
Well, if you thrive on chaos, you come to the right place.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Ella.
Thank you. I'll leave
Good
you
luck
guys.
on your time here.
Thank you. Nice to meet everybody.
Any additions or deletions from the agenda? Councillor Wade.
I'd like to talk about speed limit on Farm Road.
Okay, anything else? Seeing none, then the agenda is amended. All those in favor? Those, that's carried. Any declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none, maybe should, for the audience here, we have two councillors missing, Councillor Yipma and Councillor Buchner are away today, so. Minutes of the previous meeting, October 21st, moved by Pickard, second by Gersten. Any errors or omissions in the minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor then as presented? Opposed, that's carried. Business arising from the minutes, clerk's report, CL 55, Danny, please.
Through the mayor to council, I have nothing to add. If council has questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from council? They're really done. Seeing none, mover and second for the report, moved by Way, second by Pickard. Any discussion? All those in favor? Oh, that's carried. Our first appointment this morning, Ingersoll Minor Hockey, Jason Graham. It's right there, Jason. Come on up to the page here.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Go ahead, give us the spiel, and we actually start the budget next Monday, so
Just
you're getting under the wire.
Is it okay if we just start recording it in that way? No, I'm just saying. Again, this year we've applied for granting through the council and yourself, so. We have 257 kids this year registered, and with 43 of them coming from Southwest Oxford. It's an increase this year of 4% of players, which is very nice. Since COVID, you all know that we've been back into a growing process for minor hockey. And we're actually starting to get there where we're seeing the numbers go up, especially in the younger ages, where we are hosting out of all of our teams, we've got now 6 teams that are U8 and below. So the funding that we're requesting again is to help in regards to development for the younger players, equipment that are needed for the younger players, because now our younger years are starting to grow. And we're not expecting it to grow as fast. So the equipment that we're looking at is, i.e. jerseys, the smaller nets for the little kids to play with, stuff like that.
Any questions from council? Councilor Pickett, your first.
What's your ice rate?
Our ice rate, that was a good question. We're discounted through the town of Ingersoll, so I know that. We're not paying the regular full pot, but we are discounted. The rate did go up from last year by 3%. So we had an adjustment on that, so ice costs are going up on a regular basis. My big thing, and I'm sure you are aware, is that if we could get a new facility, it would likely attract even more kids, so. But that's just.
No, that's better.
Just now that you brought that up.
Yes, sir.
Where's that at? The new facility?
From what I understand, and I'm not gonna BS yet, from what I understand, they're supposed to start digging in 2026, early 2026. But I'm not holding my breath, because I've heard different scenarios all the time. I'm in the hopes that is gonna be the case, that it is gonna be true. My big thing is that it's gonna be one pad, which I still think that we have to fight for second pad.
And Councilor Wade, you're next.
Yeah, what's it cost to put one child in minor hockey?
Just
Just a ballpark.
wage.
It's just for starting out like Tim.
If you're starting Timbits hockey, you give it to them for $400. Yeah.
And they're on the ice twice a week?
They're on the ice, well, twice a week, and a lot of people sit there and at that age, they don't wanna be on once a week. But the big thing right now is we are calling Hockey Canada. And it's half ice for them.
Yes.
So we're able to get one team on at a time, so sometime like this past weekend, when we had Carmen's weekend. We were able to have 4 teams on the ice playing each other, kind of like in an exhibition style jamboree, but it wasn't truly a game scenario.
Okay.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Well, thanks, Jason. As I say, we start deliberations next week.
Yeah.
And we'll be back to you, hopefully we'll pass it out before the end of the year and get back to you as quickly as we can, so.
Well, as always, I appreciate the time in front of you, and thank you very much.
Well, and as a grandfather, one of the kids that
Yes.
plays there on Sunday night,
Yes.
appreciate all the work that goes in behind the scenes that nobody sees. Right, all the organization and scheduling and all that sort of stuff that I show up for the game, enjoy the game and
Yeah,
go home again. That's great, but anyways,
you were there for one of the late games, right?
no, it was before supper, so 6 o'clock or something.
All right. So you weren't yelling at me for refereeing or anything? So.
No, I mean, till I'm prepared to do it, I'm never gonna yell at anybody else. All right, thanks. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, have a great day. Our next appointment is Tillsonburg District Multi-Service Center and. I remember it again.
Yes.
Yeah, come on up to the table there.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay. Good morning, Mayor, and council members. My name is Jen Oldsberry. I'm the fundraising and community engagement coordinator with the Multi-Service Center. And this is Willa O'Hearn. She's our literacy and basic skills coordinator. Since 1978, the Multi-Service Center has been helping to build a brighter future for individuals and families across Oxford, Norfolk, and Elgin counties. We are a registered charity and we deliver employment, literacy, and home support services to help people overcome barriers, achieve independence, and stay connected to their community. Over the past year, we've seen a remarkable growth with Southwest Oxford County residents seeking employment services. The number has actually doubled from 30 to 65. Through job search coaching, resume development, and interview preparation, we've helped people find meaningful work, yet many face additional barriers like transportation, childcare, work clothing. Items that the government funding does not fully cover. Our home support services serve 23 Southwest Oxford local seniors, providing foot care, transportation, Meals on Wheels, and housekeeping services, helping them live safely and independently at home while easing the pressure on families and our healthcare system. Our literacy and basic skills program supported 36 learners, guided by 20 volunteers, 3 staff. And we're helping residents improve their reading, writing, math, and their digital skills. Skills that open doors for employment and confidence. Last year, your $1,700 community grant played a vital role in breaking down real everyday barriers. It helped job seekers to get interviews. It strengthened our volunteer transportation program. It updated our literacy materials and created meaningful, measurable change right here in the community. And this year, we're respectfully requesting $1,800 to continue building on that success. Today, we can ensure that Southwest Oxford residents have access to the supports that they need to learn, work, and live with dignity. Thank you for your continued partnership in building a stronger, more compassionate community, one person at a time.
Thanks, Jen. Questions from council? Don't see any, so, this, question I had is, on job seekers, which kind of surprised me that it didn't increase that much, so that may mean that there's more people actually out of work looking for jobs. And wanting to improve their skills of being able to do a good job. I'm just wondering, what's kind of the age? If, you know, 30 was the average and we're at 55 this year, that additional 25 people that came in this year that we did see, what age are we looking at, or is it across the board?
It's general population, we find it's between 29 to 65. We do have people coming in at the retirement age, looking and seeking for work. The reason why there was that change was that there was the change in our service system manager. So we now report to London Regional Employment Services instead of getting funding directly from the Ministry of Labor, Immigration and Training, Skills Development. So with that change, we've seen an increase of referrals from Ontario Works and sending them right to our employment services.
And the other question I had was about, basic literacy. So, that's zero up here, but, I'm just curious, the number of people that were helping in Southwest Oxford, and it was 35 or 40 in the program. I'm just wondering how many were in Southwest Oxford? Or do we break it down?
So it was 36 learners, that was just Southwest Oxford. Overall, I believe you could probably speak to overall, the numbers was 140 or?
Yeah, it's up to like 144 for the year.
Okay, sorry, I'm learning here too, apparently. I misunderstood it, and when I read it in the report, it said there was 40, and then from Southwest Oxford, I thought, it sounds like an awful lot of people. Quite frankly, it's shocking, so, okay, and it may be a bit of a testament to people slipping through the cracks in the education system. So the same question, are we seeing more of those seeking literacy skill in the younger age and if they're under 40 as compared to over 40, or is it? I'm just curious.
I think there was a huge increase with people out of work and realizing, you know, that they needed their grade 12. So we've increased that we support more of, it used to be called GED, getting your grade 12. So that age group, like around the 30-ish age group, attributed to that increase as well as other. So we have increased our job skill preparedness. So we have a few curriculums that we're offering too, which is going to be a huge help.
And anyone else? It just sounds so bigger than
now that you bring it up, you do work with like new Canadians that come here that don't have very good
Yes.
English skills, because I seem to, where I live, there seems to be a little bit of an issue.
Yes, we've had an increase there too with newcomers, because they can contribute to our, you know, our culture and society, but they do need to learn how to speak the language. So we've had an increase there, and we help them get ready, like learning to read and write English better. We don't have an ESL program in this area, but we do a lot of um, that kind of work with them. So we have tutors as well that are helping out a lot with that, because I find the one-on-one. So it's been working out quite well, actually.
In your financials, the line for donations and fundraising. I'm just wondering, is there other municipalities donating as we have in the past?
Yes, I could speak to that. We do seek, grant funds from all municipalities. Unfortunately, last year we did not receive any funds from the town of Tillsonburg. And so this makes our job even more difficult and we have to fundraise. And reach out to more grant opportunities, more foundations and, so yeah, it's difficult in this climate right now.
Okay, so what would the goal be for separating fundraising from donations for donations? Which are out of the 37,000 last year, what would the goal have been? Half of it be donations or?
So grants versus,
Sorry,
we'd say around 25,000 for donations. And then the remainder would be from grants and local foundations.
okay. So, thanks very much. Any further questions? Well, as you heard before, we're starting the budget on Monday, next week yesterday, and we'll let you know as quickly as we can. So thanks very much.
Thank you.
For all the work you do, I appreciate, particularly around literacy, because I think that to me is fundamental to people being able to enjoy good quality life.
Yes, thank you for saying that.
Thank you. Okay, now we need to move into a committee of adjustment. And motion to move into committee of adjustment, moved by Frickard, second by Way. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. And okay, so we're in committee of adjustment, call the meeting to order, motion to accept the agenda, moved by Gerson, second by Frickard. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Any declaration of pecuniary interest in the general nature thereof? Seeing none. Moving on to the minutes of the October 7th meeting, moved by Gillis, second by Way. Any errors or omissions in the minutes? There's one spelling mistake in top page 3. Gillis expressed and not and understanding, and instead of and. Okay. Anything further? All those in favor of the minutes of the amended? Opposed? That's carried. So now we're in for a minor variance application and Jeff Bannerman. Come on up to the table and we'll get to this in a second. So I'm sure, Jeff, you've been around long enough that you know the process. The planner gives us a report. The members of the committee of adjustment can ask questions. Then we get it. You have an opportunity to make any comments you want. And then the committee will make a decision and they'll have an answer. So. They want to put it up on the screen. Okay, so we're ready and go ahead with the report, please.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mayor Mayberry and members of the committee of adjustment, and I'd like to thank Jeff and Mr. Van Galen for being here as well today. Thank you for speaking with me over the past little while about your application.
You're welcome.
So this is for file A1525S 3844
Note that neither the county nor Township Public Works identified any concerns regarding the proposed relief. So as we've discussed before, MBS two must be considered, relief to MBS two must be considered in the context of the specific proposed variance. The surrounding land uses are predominantly agricultural in this case. From environmental and safety perspectives, planning staff are of the opinion that the separation distance proposed of 171 meters from the nearest type A land use would not appear to create any negative impacts on the subject lands or on surrounding properties. Although I'd like to note, although an addition to the east side of the barn would remove the need for MBS two, so if they put the addition on the other side of the north barn, it would necessitate major reconstruction of the barn and associated mechanical equipment. So it's not really, it wouldn't really be efficient in an operational or cost perspective. Staff is of the opinion that this is desirable for the development of the subject lands. It does support efficient operation and expansion of an existing business. We are also of the opinion that facilitating the addition in the proposed location is in keeping with the general intent and purpose of the official plan with respect to additions to agricultural properties and with being consistent with MBS two guidelines and the zoning bylaw, and should be given favorable consideration. I'm very happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from council? Councilor Baker.
Did you ask about a nutrient management plan?
Here, maybe, yes, the applicant did provide a nutrient management plan, so the nutrient management plan, that's how the MBS setback is generated, what's required, so they have provided that.
Okay. And this house at 384411 Shelford Road, no complaints there?
I received absolutely no feedback.
Any other questions? Councilor Gillis.
Just a comment to the planner and applicants. I appreciate the mapping here. Our last meeting, but something like that, I think it's easier to read and see all residences nearby their proposed applications. I appreciate that.
Any other comments from the committee? Okay, so now up to the proponent. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Bannerman. I'm the nutrient management planner that works with Arjon, who's the owner here, Arjon Engineering. We looked at a few different options and but as Laurel's report outlined, well, this made the most sense for him and for the expansions. Mr. Van he had reached out to all his neighbors prior to us even going down the road with the minor variance to make sure that there was no issues, and I had no complaints.
Gordon, did you, anyone want to make any comments? No. No, you're satisfied with the report as it is? Okay, anyone in the public want to speak in favor of the report? Anyone want to speak opposed to the report? Seeing no one, it's back to council, or sorry, back to committee of adjustment. Go ahead, anybody want to comment? Councilor White.
Yes, thank you, through the mayor. On plate 4. It shows 2 bunk silos. They're already existing bunk silos?
Yeah.
I just see the 2 outlines of the blue and I wondered if there was another proposal for 2 more. Okay, they're already there.
They are
Okay.
there, just they didn't show up on the sketch.
Okay, thank you.
Good. Any other questions? So, committee needs to make a decision. And Councilor Gillis, the decision was made
To approve.
the seconded by Councilor Pickard. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, that's carried. The appeal period,
20 days.
so theoretically, this will be mailed out tomorrow. So 20 days after tomorrow, it'll be a appeal, provisional appeal, then you're gonna come to the door permit. We know that already there, so, okay. So, in 3 weeks' time, we should be able to get in here, it doesn't stop you from making sure you get the paperwork into the, chief building official. But, you can't actually sign off on it until after the appeal period is over. Okay?
Very good, thank
Right,
you.
thanks for your time. Need a motion then to rise from the committee of adjustment. Moved by Ray, second by Jersey, any discussion, all those in favor, opposed, that's carried. Need a second, let's go back to. So I think we're, now down to, Good for the Soil Music Festival. And Jay? Come on, Jay.
Morning, everybody.
Is it?
Panasico, yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, town council, how
Yeah,
you doing?
found it.
Good morning. Okay, so my name's Jay Panasico. I'm currently living in Ingersoll. I run a company called Studio 73 Digital Media. And 2 years ago, I had an idea to bring Helix, if anybody knows Helix, the rock band Helix, to Ingersoll for a show. We were gonna do it in the arena to raise money for the new Ingersoll Arena. Through working with Mayor Brian Petrie, it turned into a free concert in the park. So basically, we took Memorial Park downtown Ingersoll. And we didn't know what to expect, and I think we wound up. The reports say 4,000 people the first year came. I believe it was a little bit less because this year there was a lot more people in its second year. Through the town of Ingersoll giving us some money, Community Futures giving us a grant, we were able to offer the show for free. The town of Ingersoll did a report where we brought in, if we brought in 4,000 people, we brought in $300,000 in revenue to the town of Ingersoll for that night. The concert, I was working in partnership with the Lions Club for the first 2 years, so they handled the beer tent. And all of the money made at the beer tent goes back into the community. This year, I have since registered Good for the Soul, the concert, as its own not-for-profit, hoping that this year we will run the beer tent, and at the end, we will find some worthwhile charities that need the money, the profits to go to, so that we can support and also continue growing the festival into something more. I wasn't sure if I was gonna be able to have a screen. Is there any way to throw something up on the screen? Because that might give you a little bit better idea of what we've managed to accomplish.
We're
So
having some
we
trouble.
are, yeah, it was working and it stopped, and I think maybe there's an issue with the connection, and we may have to have someone look at it, because we cannot get anything up there right now.
Okay.
Okay, all right, well, I wasn't sure because I had some stuff. I can, so basically, the way it works too is so the first year we had, I believe it's like 42 sponsors, businesses in Ingersoll that sponsored to make the festival go. This year we had 89. People want their name attached to this. It's a free night in Ingersoll. Everybody dancing under the stars. That was, I think the best way to do it would be to show you the highlight reel from last year, which is on the website that we do have, which is called goodforthesoul.com. So you guys can maybe watch it at your home. Yeah, I can send it by email and a follow-up. Now, basically what we do is, if any business, say, obviously Joker's Crown, for example, they sponsored, I run a marketing campaign with them for the entire month of August. They offer a special. We offer specials on the website, so you can go and you can find any one of our sponsors that wants to run any sort of promotion. They get a promotion. Now, I can tell you, in the 3 months leading up to the concert, I had 1.5 million views on the Facebook page, which I think is pretty good for Ingersoll, Ontario, for a concert that we put downtown Ingersoll. So with 1 million views, that gives everyone that gets behind this concert a lot of exposure. For Mount Elgin, I actually had Sass Jordan staying in Mount Elgin for the night of the show. I rented an Airbnb out here, and I was hoping to work with the Mount Elgin Golf Course and the Waves Nordic Spa, which I'm hoping they come in as sponsors next year. So I have been expanding it outside of Ingersoll, right, to drive traffic to businesses outside of, and basically in the area of Oxford County. So my vision is we're going into year 3. The first year was off the charts in success. I got awards from Doug Ford, Ernie Hardiman, Art Band. This year, the same. Art Band came to the concert and presented an award on stage, so it's been recognized by a whole bunch of things. But it doesn't happen without the support of grants and funding from sponsors.
Okay, well, thanks very much. Questions, well, maybe the first question is, according to this, good for the soul. I thought it said good for the soil. I thought it was.
Oh, yeah, well, it was a play on Ingersoll, right? Good for the soul, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just wondering why the spelling of soul was, not the way I learned it in public school.
Well, because Ingersoll, right? That's what
Yeah.
double up. So that was the point.
So, all right, any questions from, council? Councilor Burgers.
What's the sponsorship cost and what's the level of sponsorship?
Okay, so we had sponsorships everywhere. We had sponsorships from $250 up to $10,000. Okay, now like the town of Ingersoll was 10, I think the BIA was in at 10. Now for that, obviously, logo on all marketing material. Like I said, if I could show you this video, you would know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, I know I can tell that we're all. It's not just a small stage. We have like the full Rock the Park size stage. I have 18-foot high banners that if you're $1,000 and up, your logo goes on the banner. These are the shirts that we had. So any sponsors, they go on the back of the shirts, like the tour dates. So if you're $1,000 or up, you go on the back of the shirt. We had beer koozies for sale. So sponsorship packages range, yeah, $250 all the way up. Now, I can tell you, I had a real estate agent come to me and she's like, Jay, I really want to sponsor, but I can only give you $100. I didn't say no. So I did a social media shout out for her and she got 18,000 views on that post. You know, so I think that if she sells one house out of those 18,000 views, that's a good ROI on $100, right? So basically, I also work it out too. There was a couple businesses that said, hey, we don't have the money to sponsor right now. And I said, okay, well, why don't you come up with a month-long special? I'll advertise it for you and you can make the money and pay me later, right? So the whole thing of it is it's to grow Oxford and Ingersoll's businesses. So no matter what sponsor level you get, you still get looked after better. It's just your logo gets displayed on more places.
Okay, any other questions? They said one, so exactly when's the date for?
So the date for this would be, I believe it was August 24th, 23rd, 22nd. We usually do it it's the same day as the Kiwanis Harvest Market. So they run their market from like 9 to 4, and then we've been starting doors at 5 for the concert.
It's just a one day.
It's just, well, as of right now, it's just a one day. There is some larger government grants through Ontario Creates. They want it to be a 2-day event, 5 hours of programming per day. I have considered taking it to a 2-night event, to Friday night and then Saturday, starting a little bit longer in the day. It all just depends on funding, you know, like I guess, well, everybody's pretty shaken up about Cami right now. You know, they finally came in as a fairly good sponsor last year, and now I'm not so sure what's gonna happen with them, right? And nobody is, right? But like I said, yeah, the people were calling me to sponsor. Just, they wanted their name attached to it. Did anyone go to, did anyone hear about the concert out here?
I heard about it, but I didn't attend.
You heard about it, okay.
But,
So I mean, yeah, the 2 years in a row, we packed 4,000 people into downtown Ingersoll and not one issue to report. You know what I mean? Like there was maybe 3 people were cut off, but that was it. There wasn't any incidents. And to have Sass Jordan come was actually pretty phenomenal considering her stature in music, right?
okay,
So, but yeah, but obviously the more money we have, the band, you know, these bands aren't cheap.
okay, any other questions? Okay, Jay, we'll let you know, as I say, we're starting the budget next week and,
No problem.
have it finished before the end of the year.
If you have an email, like I said, I can email, we did a report for the town last year that we presented to council and they had their own report. Like I said, I have a bunch of stuff, I didn't know if I was gonna be able to put it up, but I can email you a link, basically goodforthesoul.com. Everything's documented on the website, what we did.
So send it to the clerk at swax.org.
Clerk, that's what's on our, okay, when I get home, I will definitely send you that, and I wanna thank everybody for your time. And
Well, thanks for coming. Right, and good luck with, the.
Well, I'm gonna stay, I'm not gonna walk out,
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna stay for a minute,
Councilor Burgess,
but thank you.
No,
No, okay. The next one, we have is, Trevor. And Nick, are you two there? I think I saw you look them in, so. For the Silver Hall Board.
Yeah, reading sponsor this. There's one of our sponsors. Huh?
You know who you're.
I don't know who I'm having next year. We're working on that.
Go ahead, gentlemen, tell us the story, so.
there you go.
Okay, Dick, go ahead, I'm going, doesn't matter.
So, there's been a few changes over the course of the year. The biggest change, I think you're all used to seeing Kathy beside me every year for the past 15 years, pretty much. So Dick's our new president and, has been doing a great job, trying to keep us organized. We've, had, another successful year so far with rentals, and we're just coming into the back part of our rental season, which is our busiest part during Christmas, Thanksgiving, that area. So we're looking at our budgets kind of thing, where we've already got, our budget was to make 13,000, or sorry, 13,000 some odd. And we've, or 14,000, sorry, we've cleared that already. So the demand is there for the hall, for family dinners, for get-togethers, for small parties. We have a church group that comes in on Sundays. We have a seniors group that runs out of it. We have, trying to think of the other groups that are regular contributors, that I'm missing at least one. But there has been a good demand for the hall over the course of the past year. We've upgraded our water system. We're having some water issues last year. We had to get our peroxide system put in as well as our septic adjusted. I forget exactly how that was done. We renovated and improved the ceiling, of course, on our bar area / chair room where we keep our chairs and tables. And there was one other project, the last project that we're in the middle of getting done that was scheduled for this year was to have our shack that's out in the near the baseball diamond refaced and improved, because it hasn't been really touched in a long time. So we're gonna get some more use.
Which homes to start on Wednesday.
On Wednesday, okay, I didn't know that. That's the update. Dick's been arranged.
I just got that, yeah.
So, that's kind of the update in terms of how the hall itself has been forming. We definitely do feel that there is a good demand for it in the community, especially in and around this time of year. We're pretty much booked every single weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. From usually early October straight through until January is Christmas. So, yeah.
I'd just like to add to that, one of the reasons why I feel the Salford Hall is so busy is when we did the upgrades on the kitchen and the bathroom and stuff, but also on the cleaning end of it. We've had some tremendous great cleaning ladies or men, and you get comments on we enjoy being in the Salford Hall, but it was also nice and clean, so that's a plus, and I appreciate the township for providing the cleaning person.
Okay. A lot of the numbers a little bit. The good news for council is if you look at our budgeted grant request, it's less. So I don't know how often that happens, but it's 5,566 after crunching the numbers that we estimate we would want in grant funding. Down from the number on the one I have is correct, it's 9,000 something last year. So we are fairly self-sufficient in terms of the amount of money that we bring in. We've had a history of fundraising a lot. So we have in our fundraising account, I think we're $42,000 that we've raised over the years to be able to fund projects, upgrades, etc. So taking you through the budget, really what we're hoping for is to raise about $5,000 in fundraising, rental income of about 14,000. We're going to hit that this year, I'm sure. There's solar panel revenue, which is the money that we get from the investment of the solar panels every year is about 1,500. Costs, hard to predict electricity and heating, but we just average it out over the past few years. Our water system, WRC, we have maintenance on that pretty consistently. Caretaker for about 5,000, hall supplies about 1,500. Repairs and maintenance, we estimate around 7,000. As you can see, going back 2 years ago, sometimes it jumps up to 15. Sometimes we come well under, like we did this year, so far 3,300. The equipment rental, that's just for during the summer, we now rent a portable washroom to be in the park so that it makes it much more usable by the community for both the baseball diamond and the playground equipment. That's basically it in terms of everything that we have there. Brings our total expenditures and total income coming in to $26,066 and the operating rate request to $5,566. When you look at our capital budget or our capital plan, that's the next slide there. The new floors, that's something that we're looking at doing soon because they're getting pretty in our large room in the hallway. They're getting chipped. Those are the original floors that are still in there from when the building was built, which is 60s. So they're still there. They're good quality. I'm sure we can find those tiles. The ball diamond, we've been getting surprisingly over the past couple of years, we've been starting to get regular people coming in and using the ball diamond. For the longest time that was sitting in. So we want to encourage that. We really want to get that upgraded, both the landscaping, the netting that goes behind the ball, I don't know what we call it, the baseball backstop. Yeah, that. We want to get that upgraded and completed, and a little bit of work on the spotlights that or the lights that go over the diamond. Some of them have some loose wires up there that don't look very safe. We'd like to get that taken care of as well. Over the next few years, these are all estimates. You know, at some place we're going to need to replace some heating rads. And that's not going to be very cheap because they are quite old and original. Then we go into 2028. We keep saying somewhere in the next 5 years we'll need a new roof. So far from when we got it inspected, we haven't needed one. But once again, original roof from a very long time ago. And then we put in 2025 request for senior room chairs, tables and ceiling, just looking out, those will need to get done. They were done 10 years ago, I believe, and then a boiler replacement at some point and put it off till 2030 unless it completely breaks. So those are what we expect, but mind you, with the capital expenses, a lot of it is repairing things that could go early or could last longer. So
updates.
Yeah.
So the good news is that we have Connor Brennan here this morning, and he's gonna tell us how long those things are gonna last, roof, whatever, that sort of stuff. And as well, at the last council meeting, we passed a motion to have someone come in and do an in-depth audit on a number of the things such as the boilers and that. And then look at what are the future options that if kind of be proactively prepared to decide, you know, do we want to replace like for like, or do we want to do something different? So that study will be done over the next few months. We haven't decided exactly which buildings or how many of them they're doing, but we do have quotes on all. So I did want to ask you on the floors. The floors in that building, they have asbestos in them, the tiles.
I'm not really good, so I wouldn't know for sure.
I'm betting they do. So are we thinking of ripping up and then putting down?
That would be the most likely scenario, but we'd have to get some quotes, someone who really knows floors to be able to say, here's what I recommend. So if it's gonna be expensive, really expensive to rip up because of the asbestos, in some cases, it may be better and easier to put a floor over top of it. So that's my notes.
I would just raise that as a caution because I'm willing to bet that the floors, especially in the hallway, well, and in the big room, the other floor's already been done.
Right.
Yeah.
With my experience as, I do with strip and whack before, so I've retired since then. They are 10-inch tiles. And then if you know the history a little bit, the 10-inch tiles probably 95% is not.
So,
The 10-inch tiles were the asbestos, unless at some point they changed that, but it's like you said, it's a pretty good bet that they.
so the reason I raised it is because it was built as a public school, right, and a public building in the sixties or late fifties. And asbestos was not uncommon in the times, so just raise that concern. The other thing I was gonna comment is, your estimate on solar generation. Remember, solar actually decreases, not increases, so you might wanna actually knock a couple $100 off that, but, and I think that's, so I think it probably gonna decrease as the panels kind of wear down, but. Any other questions for comments for Selfridge? And what were you thinking of the floor, like,
Well, because, we have a group that does, a senior group that does shuffleboard in that big room. So we could ask them, but generally with, because they have the signs in them for shuffleboard, that will probably, maybe ask us what floor that they like. Do they like the tile floor for that sport? We'll have to see. I'm not sure. Since it's a venue that is rented out constantly, you would not want to go carpet. For sure. Whether you go laminate floor or you can go also with what they call a marmoleum. But I am, like I said, I am not sure with marmoleum whether those score things for shuffleboard or if that's available or if that has to be painted on. I don't know that.
okay, I would just caution you to sort of take some time if this is approved. To kind of figure out all of those things before we.
Definitely get some quotes and some professional expertise.
Yes, okay, good. Any other questions from council? Seeing none, thanks for all the work you've done, looking forward to the next workshop, supper, and I'm sure it's coming sometime, Councilor Gerson will no doubt have tickets to sell us, so.
Yes.
Anyways, thanks for all you done.
Actually, I have one question. Since being president, then I started to make up an agenda that we follow at the meetings. And maybe that's just not the right question, but we have to print out 10 of those every time. And is it possible that I could send the agenda to the township office and have them print them out and give it to Valerie? Or I
CEO says?
Yes, we can help with that.
Pardon?
Yes, we can help with that.
I appreciate that.
Okay, I thought when you said as president, you were gonna say you wanted some kind of tariffs. Or something, oh, no, you can't, so.
We got an old computer and our printer doesn't always.
Yeah. Don't worry, send it down and send it again to the clerk, or I guess it'll be the clerk.
You're us.
So, okay,
Appreciate that very much.
all right, thank you. Thanks, Trevor. And that brings us to the building condition assessment report. Connor, you're up.
Great, thank you very much, Mayor and council and staff. Yeah, so I understand you have the council report in front of you. So it's just going to review that. So again, yeah, Connor Brennan from Oxford County, through the service agreement, I've helped with the asset management plans that we've done the last 2 years.
and continue to help with asset management. And one of the goals we had after the budget was to review the building condition assessments we did in 2023 with you all. So yeah, the report you have in front of you is trying to review all of the 16 buildings. I think we have the building condition assessments as well as the inventory to help provide asset conditions, replacement costs, and useful lives that filtered into the asset management plan. As they were just mentioning about the asset retirement obligations, the asbestos, that was also a review of that. And indeed, South Hall was $34,000 for the flooring at that location. And the RFP was done in conjunction with townships of Zora and Norwich as well. All three townships were done from a company named Facility Risk Solutions, and came down during September to November of 2023, and then they wrote the reports. Each of the reports are somewhere in the range of 100 pages each, so 1,600 pages just for SWOCs. Yeah, all those were sent to the township in 2044, and they filtered into the asset management plan to help develop the inventory. It was limited to internal systems and the only external systems. So for instance, at the museum, there's this tiny, a small sidewalk attached to the building. So that was part of it. But otherwise, no external systems were part of it. We put external systems in where they weren't in before. And then there were a few that were missed. I had to put in some municipal wells, or sorry, some property wells and things like that. The limitations of the study certainly was a point in time review. They were there just one day. There were two staff present, one from the county and the SWOC staff members, usually Dan. But again, it was just one review at the time. And staff involvement in the last month, I reviewed all the museum DCA with Dr. Stephanie Radu, the curator there, and it was very helpful to get the specific feedback on this, and so there will be some changes from that. But that level of detail is very helpful, and it is helpful to have the staff that are there on a continual basis. Figure 2 on the report in front of you. These are all the individual buildings that were addressed. The FCI in the 5th column over, so that's a facility condition index. That essentially means out of the whole entire replacement cost of the facility, how much money do we have to put in for capital projects over the next 10 years? So you want that, the lower the better. So obviously something like Fulton's Hall, 20.7%, that's a significant replacement cost over that time frame. And then the adjusted capital needs in the 7th column, I think over, is just, I reviewed this with a facilities technician, Daryl here, and we went through the projects that were suggested, both the timelines as well as the individual dollar figures, and where he saw something he didn't agree with, we adjusted it. So for instance, I think there were some the fans that were in there for $7,000 for one building. He said, this should never really cost us more than $1,000. We adjusted it, and so the adjustments that we had were also shown in figure 3. I actually made an error on this. So if you look at figure 3, the first 2024 number is in the 126,000 range for the 2024 to 2033 capital needs. Actually doubled all those. So all these are double what they should be. So that is actually 63,000, which means percent of the original adjusted capital needs is now 90%. So that just means based on the adjustments and the work that we already have done, for instance, one of the condensers, air conditioning units at the museum was replaced. So we no longer need to do that, obviously.
that was removed from the adjusted capital needs column. Yeah, so went through all this with facility technician as well as the, excuse me, the museum review that I did with, Curier there. She provided a lot of notes, and updates on what's gonna be going in. We had also done the 2 barns at that location, but we hadn't done the small garage that's there, so I will be adding some small assets in for that location. One difficult thing to gauge for the museum is the heritage value, something like that. It's not a heritage location, but the directive that they have and, you know, the expertise and knowledge they have of the building is to try to preserve the heritage as much as possible. Obviously, this will be, you know, made more difficult just by the types of construction and the types of materials that they would need. So that was a conversation had with Dr. Radu as well. She is still providing comments on the sheds 1 and 2, or sort of barn 1 and 2 review, but I understand there's a large project renovating barn 1, if I'm not mistaken, coming up in 2026. And as I mentioned, you know, I will be adding the well on site that was missed previously. And then one of the other things from this BCA is not in this report, but we've presented it to council before about the AROs, so the asset retirement obligations, mainly asbestos. Durham Hall is the only location with some lead paint assumed, but through this review, the BCA contractor consultant went through and just like gentleman that just left, he talked about the 10-inch tiles, a lot of expertise on the history of how asbestos was used in lead paint and other AROs. We didn't find any, but yes, based on the age and the timing of everything and the construction, they know more or less when asbestos was used, but it wasn't any testing to get it done. So for instance, downstairs in one of the vaults, based on the flooring and adhesive used, we assume asbestos at this site for $9,000. The largest figure was the Southford Community Center for $34,000 for the assumed asbestos, so that was there. So that was one part of this review as well. And then, yeah, just to conclude everything, asset management and iterative process, we are trying to add on and adjust figures as needed and as time goes on. So the adjustments that I did with facilities technician Daryl and based on budgets year to year, we're always just adjusting the dollar amount certainly, but also the timeline of when these projects will take place. Then I wonder if there's any questions.
Okay, thanks, John. Questions here? Councilor Bailey.
Just wondering about 2026, figure 3.
Yeah.
$10,000. Doesn't seem like near enough. For all the facilities we have, are you saying that's all we're gonna spend next year?
No, it's certainly not, and so I would note that, you know, 2024 was 120,000 or so, 2025 is also significantly higher. Again, all these numbers are doubled. I realized that mistake yesterday, so sorry about that. But for the consultant that did this, they were just putting some projects that they thought needed to happen sooner in the first 2 years when they did this. So for instance, the elevator right beside us, they had said to renovate and to bring this up to modern standards, we should be putting in $76,000 to replace that. Based on the timeline of the building and the fact that it's working and obviously passing code, you know, it doesn't seem economical for Sparks to do that. So the timeline of some of these projects is not saying this is all you have to do. It's just that was their opinion at the time. And obviously through the budget process, you know, these projects are being prioritized as is needed in the current year. But it just gives us more background on when and what projects we should be doing.
Any other questions? Not seeing any, so thanks very much, Connor, appreciate your time and continue the good work with the staff here. We want to keep the buildings up. I was actually kind of pleased to see that we don't really have a lot of high priority issues. I mean, we're aware of a couple of the,
You're aware of them, exactly, yeah.
the buildings are in relatively good shape.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks very much.
Thank you very much.
Big brothers, big sisters, Kristen, come on up.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm Kristen Ralph, the Executive Director of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Oxford County. Most of you know what we do, but we work with children and youth all over Oxford County, but here in Southwest Oxford, to help them grow up with guidance and encouragement of caring mentors. And a lot of that is thanks in part to your investment. Anything that you know about Big Brothers Big Sisters, you know these are casual friendships, they're intentional developmental relationships, and they're supported by professional caseworkers, helping young people build confidence, resilience, and hope for the future. Last year, the township grant helped us directly support 26 young people right here in Southwest Oxford. We created 12 new mentoring matches, sustained 12 existing matches, so providing continuity and stability for those youth. We supported 2 additional young people through waitlist programs while they waited for a long-term match. We completed 6 new family intakes, so helping caregivers get to be part of our organization, identify their needs, and set up some goals for them. We also helped break down some barriers, specifically around transportation. So making sure that kids in Southwest Oxford aren't missing out on anything that's happening throughout Oxford County if we can get them there. Behind those numbers are powerful stories, a child who finally feels seen, a mentor who becomes a steady adult in a young person's life and somebody that they can count on, and a family who can feel hopeful again. So our programs are really there to support the child, but we're also supporting families, and mentors get a lot out of the programs as well. We're seeing the difference in the data. We have great results in all mentees, saying that their mentor helps them make new connections and feel like they truly matter. They say that their mentor pushes them to be better and make good choices. And a big group of them think that their mentor has helped them set and achieve meaningful goals. Why your investment continues to matter. As you know, we receive no ongoing core funding, so everything we raise is through grants like this, donations, fundraising events. So your support helps us sustain these matches here in Southwest Oxford and recruit and train more mentors from your community and reach more families in need. We want to make sure that children who are struggling and facing adversity are doing it alone, and that they have us and someone else in their corner who encourages them and believes in them. Again, I am so grateful to Southwest Oxford for your investment the last few years and beyond. And I know that you are always great at sharing our events and things going on in the community. So on behalf of the youth that we serve here in Southwest Oxford, I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Kristen. Questions from council, Councilor Becker.
You do a great job. Appreciate it very much.
I really appreciate you.
You had a terrible time financially last year. I guess you know that.
Yes.
So what's your budget look like for this year, next year coming up? Will you
Yes.
be able to get things back on track?
Yeah, and we are doing better this year. Part of last year was a strategic investment in staff. So we really wanted to make sure that they were being paid a fair wage. So we knew that that was going to dip into our reserves a bit, but we knew that we could financially handle that to make sure that the staff were stable, knowing that these economic times are great for them as well and their families, and ensuring that we're keeping quality staff in our programs. But we have continued to make adjustments. We've reduced expenses in areas that we can. We have a 2-year plan to make sure that we're back into our regular balanced budget.
Supplementary, so you still have you're still governed by a board?
Yes.
Is there any board representatives from Southwest Oxford?
Currently, no, we have someone from Tilsonburg and Ingersoll. We do have 2 staff members in Southwest Oxford, so we have 2 staff members that live in Mount Healthy.
Council Pickard was off, man. That's, just so you know.
No, I already did.
You're always welcome.
Any other questions for? Seeing none, quick question, how long have we had Big Brothers and Big Sisters in Oxford?
1969 was when,
Okay.
we first came here.
Okay,
Quite some time.
all right, and as I told the other groups, we're starting the budget next Monday. And so your request is duly noted, and we'll see, hopefully by the end of the year to let you know.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and thanks for all you do, please.
Yes, thank you.
Appreciate it.
And we are looking for board members if anybody.
Yep, his name is Pickard.
I think I might have his
Yeah,
contact
okay.
information.
Don't be afraid to put him down.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thanks, Vic. We're a little bit late, but, we're now ready for a public meeting for zone change application for Brian Young. Is that Young the proper name?
Yes.
Okay, come on up to the table. I assume this is Joanne and Russell, so.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to move into a public meeting, motion to move into a public meeting, moved by Pickard, second by Gillis. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. So now that we're in a public meeting, Laura will give the report. Then council has an opportunity to ask any questions just for clarification. Then you have, as a proponent, you have the opportunity to make any comments or things you want to talk about. And then rather limited number of people in the audience right now, but they have an opportunity either here or on online to either speak in favor or opposed, right? So, and then we'll have further discussion with council and then they make a decision. Okay? So this is a zone change application, and Laura, please take it away.
Thank you, Mayor Mayberry, members of council and staff and members of the audience. Before I start, I'd like to thank Brian for being so prepared when he asked questions and submitted the application. He was incredibly prepared and had done a lot of research. So thank you for that. And thank you, Joanna Russell, for being here as well and our conversations over the past little while. So the reason for the zone change at 584-458 Beachville Road is essentially because the lot is a non-conforming lot. It does not have frontage on an improved street. These lots are rare, but they do occur where you have lots that are, they have a registered access that provides them to access to an improved street. The lot for an R1 lot is also non-conforming in that it is smaller than what the R1 zone requires. So those are the 2 reasons for the zone change, and in discussion with my manager, we decided that a zone change was the cleanest way to approach this application. So the reason Brian approached me was that they wish to erect an accessory structure on their property to house a kiln for personal use. The accessory structure is personal use, the kiln is personal use. There is, they will not be opening a pottery business or retailing pottery. This is just for a hobby. And so because the lot is non-conforming, does not have access onto an improved street, they are required to go through this process, which Brian and I talked about at length. So the access to the property is provided via a private driveway, vernacularly called Canfield Lane, but it's actually a private driveway. It's not named on our system. The owners have a registered easement, which does provide them with access to Beachville Road from their property. So as I said, they're proposing accessory building, and that building does meet the updated provisions which council approved for accessory structures. So they're proposing a building of 35.7 square meters or 384 square feet. So when you add that total to their detached garage, they're still well within their allowable square footage for accessory structures.
It is a residential type 1 zone property and it's in the settlement of Beachville. So through the circulation of this application, which is part of our process, building services and fire services will confirm that the access to the subject property across the driveway does meet the applicable building and fire codes. They're in discussion with the applicant, so I'm confident that those requirements are being met and that we're all being transparent about those requirements and discussions. Again, that's for safety purposes to ensure that if required, emergency vehicles can properly access their property. There was one letter of objection, which is attached to the report for council's information. The applicant and owners are also aware of this objection. So the concern was that the kiln will be used to facilitate a pottery business, which could result in increased traffic along the private driveway and could also result in an increase in noise. Again, I've spoken with the applicant about this and there is no intention to open a pottery business. This is for, as I said, for private use. I would also like to note, however, that a home-based business is permitted use on our own properties. However, that is not the intention of this. It's for personal use only. In terms of our analysis, the proposal is consistent with the official plan with respect to the development of properties in suburban areas. So we look at increasing efficiency of land use, using resources and infrastructure. So the proposal is consistent with those policies. The proposal is also consistent, as I mentioned, with the provisions that council approved with respect to increased size for accessory structures. Also, I did a site visit, as I do with all the applications, and reviewed the area on the mapping. And I'd like to note that the R1 property, although it's smaller than what's currently required, is much larger than other R1 properties in the area. So it's able to accommodate the proposed accessory structure, the required services, setbacks, without any negative impacts. So staff are, I'm of the opinion that the aspects that don't conform to the bylaw, so the lot area and lack of frontage, do satisfy the criteria in the official plan that allows us to consider and recognize these lots as legal non-conforming lots. And that the proposal is reasonable. Staff are of the opinion that locating the proposed shed as proposed, which in this case functions as the front yard because it's a non-conforming property, is reasonable, will maintain the necessary area for private services, drainage, and maintenance. The proposed location does provide sufficient setbacks from the abutting property, which will maintain compatibility with the adjacent land uses and would not negatively impact vehicular traffic. Staff are satisfied that the proposed structure will clearly be secondary to the existing residential dwelling on the property. And overall, staff are of the opinion that the zoning application is consistent with the policies of the provincial planning statement, maintains the intent and purpose of the official plan, and can be supported from a planning perspective. I have attached a draft amending bylaw for council's consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the planner? Not seeing any, so Leon, go ahead and anything you want to say.
I think Laurel's covered it extremely well. I guess one note I will say is that kilns of this nature are generally fired in a community setting. But a kiln of this size, it would be a very small group of people. So it will be probably 1 to 4 people at any given time firing this kiln. So I really don't see this being any nuisance to anybody in the area at all.
Okay. Anyone in the audience want to speak in favor of the application? There anybody online? Anybody in the audience want to speak close to the application? Hearing none, it's back then to council. Any comments or questions? Councillor Dillis.
Yeah, I recognize the concern from a resident there, but I think from what was reported in the report, I think for personal use and the size of the building, I don't think it would be a concern for the area. Obviously, anybody has the right to complain if there becomes vehicular traffic or noise or concerns like that. But at this time, I don't foresee this being a concern moving forward, and I think we could approve it.
Any other questions or comments? Just a couple of private driveway actually services 3 lots.
That's correct.
So, and it is owned by the lot at the kind of southwest corner.
Through Mary, yes.
Okay. So, the other thing is, what's the form of energy being used in the kiln? Is it wood or gas or
It will be wood.
wood? So there is the potential for wood smoke coming out of the kiln. I mean, that's,
There is, I am consulting with a master kiln builder and designer, who specializes in extremely efficient and low smoke designs. That's my intention to move forward. I don't want to be a nuisance to anyone here, so.
I just think council needs to be aware that my wife used to do some pottery work as well. And there was a kiln next door on my brother's farm for a while. And so got a little bit of knowledge about how this works, but I just think it's one of those things you should be aware that the potential for smoke, where you've got the kiln is kind of at the back of people, and the west, predominantly west winds would move the smoke to the east rather than to the two neighbors that are right across the road from there, or across the driveway from them. So I don't have any problem. That would be my only concern, though, would be the potential for wood smoke, whether it bothers anybody or not. So, okay, anything else from council? Seeing none, we need a motion then to rise from the public meeting so council can make a decision moved by Pickard, second by Harrison. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Now, decision to be made. Council Pickard.
We approve it.
That approve it, seconded by Councillor Gillis. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. So, and this one, is there a appeal period? 20 days, so the decision will be probably mailed out either tomorrow or Thursday. And 20 days after that, if there's been no appeal, then you can come in and look for your building permit or start to work. Actually, you can start to work on the building permit, you can't get one until after the appeal period is over, so, okay? Okay, thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
And good luck with the kiln. We're now down to Rhonda Stewart. Come on up, Rhonda. Tell us all about economic development. Not good. We're having a little technical problem, so it's not gonna show up there yet, is it? No, so
That's okay.
you're on your own.
No, that's okay. This, yeah, that actually works out perfect. We printed some really nice quality copies of the strategic plan for everyone to have, so I can bring more when needed, but I just wanted to come and say good morning and thank you for Southwest Oxford's support of rural Oxford Economic Development Corporation as a whole, but also thank you for your engagement throughout the strategic planning process that we undertook this summer. I'm not going to go through the full report today. I wanted to just, I thought it would be good now that we have this document and we're working through implementation planning. I thought it would be a nice touch point to come and say good morning, see if there were any questions or comments that you'd like us to consider as we map out our year one of this 5-year roadmap. I just thought I would touch on the process a little, and then just, I know you guys have a lot of presentations today, so I want to be mindful of your time. So just a little Q&A, or if you think of something after you've taken a real deep dive through this, as you all know, Jim Pickard is our Southwest Oxford Council board member. You're welcome to fire any questions or concerns or comments his way, and I'm sure he'll bring them to our board meeting in November. So over the course of the summer, just a little bit about the process. We worked with McSweeney and Associates to completely revamp, I guess, our strategic plan. We were well under the way of our last one, and we kind of took a look at the timing of everything and identified that, you know, the last strategic plan was built in like 2021, which was like really in a COVID vacuum. We had crossed off a number of items for that strategic plan and we took a look at the landscape that we're in right now. And we thought this would be a nice tool to provide going into an election year versus waiting till after an election year to do that and also do a pulse check on where are things at in rural Oxford right now. So we went working with McSweeney over the spring. We did some, document review, economic analysis. We worked with them on just, providing a lot of documents and content and information about the local economy. Then there was quite a bit of engagement, stakeholder engagement over the course of the summer, from one-to-one phone call interviews, online surveys, focus groups, and staff and board priority planning sessions. McSweeney took all of that information and then had a good number of people come back at the end of August there, or middle of August, to do like a working session to kind of say, okay, here's everything that we heard throughout these input sessions, basically. And they had kind of like proposed some action items, some goals, some objectives, and then we continue to that working session break out into different groups and tackle gaps, tackle opportunity. We talked about challenges a little more because it's just natural when you get into that situation, but really focused on solution-based kind of conversation. I will add that it was very dynamic process and we had quite a cross section of participation throughout the whole process. So some sessions in the input stage where we had an elected official session, we had a community partner session, and a business community stakeholder session. And then there was another opportunity to bring a cross section of people together from all of those areas. And there was some very robust conversation happening with the cross section of perspectives, which I found to be quite informative and helpful. So anyways, so all of that kind of came together. And then we met with our executive committee and our board, and we went through this process and then we brought it to the full board. So this document that you see here is the final strategic plan. And our next steps is to take a look at this, take a look at our resources, take a look at what we can accomplish in year one. And yeah, that's where we're at today. So I just thought I'd come and personally thank you in person and just see if there's any questions and comments.
Good, thanks very much. Rhonda, Councilor Pritchard, did you want to make any comments as our board rep?
I think participation overall from our municipality was a little on the weak side. I think you'd agree. John Bruin contributed a lot. I missed a couple of sessions. Otherwise, there wasn't a lot of participation here, was there?
Well,
We had some businesses involved.
well, actually, I had quite a bit of one-on-one conversation with Mary Ellen and Julie. We also had some businesses from the community. So I would say combined, you're not the only township that felt that. Maybe, are you?
I just got the impression we were a little on the weak side, but maybe not.
So we'll talk to Craig, don't worry.
Yeah, that's right.
Any other comments on the Councilor Pritchard?
We have a good staff. They're worth every cent we pay them. I have absolutely no issues with the way things are going. We've been on the board for a long time. It's just been up and away. Every year is better than the year before. So no, I can't criticize, suggest anything other than the fact that this picture here, you cut me out of this picture. It's kind of disappointing.
Show up more, Jim.
Other councilors, any questions or comments? Councilor Gillis.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, Rhonda. So a question of our rural, groups and, different businesses, like, what are the things that they're requiring or needing the most to help them continue on, like, you know? I know we can't just wave a magic ball, have a magic ball and just give them anything, but like, what are they after? Like, is it zoning? Is it land? Is it staffing? Like, what is it that's, you know, they're needing the most, support or help to find?
Some of our businesses are just knocking it out of the park in this current environment and others less so. So I think that the businesses who, a business friendly community, I think we can't always have. We can't always have shovel ready, like municipally owned shovel ready lands. It's not practical in every sense. Would it be ideal? Sure. Practical? May take a little longer. I think a business friendly environment where there's, you know, communication, transparency around process, oftentimes businesses are okay with, a process, like they understand they may have to do zone change or an OPA or something to that nature. It's sometimes when it feels to the business, sometimes the goalpost is moving. So they may believe that, and I can actually see both sides, so I'm kind of in a unique spot. Oftentimes, certain criteria will be spelled out based on their proposal, and they'll be asked to submit X amount of information. Then they believe they're submitting the information, but maybe something significantly changed from what was discussed to what is now being submitted. And so then they're being asked, based on this new information, to submit more. And so the frustration comes, and I think a breakdown in communication along the way. So the business sometimes has expressed to us in general, just not just Southwest, like in general. They feel like we've got this process completed. And now the goalpost keeps moving, so it keeps delaying. So business friendly environment, sensitive. I mean, government and business do run at two different speeds. So just, I guess, a sensitivity or an awareness to the fact that they're pro formas, and if we want to be business friendly, we can't always just be like, that's your problem. Kind of have to like work together closely, like more closely with them, and just even try to understand a little bit of their scenario. Doesn't change the fact that we have rules to follow, but understanding can go a long way. So I think, and then always access to capital. That's always.
That's perfect.
Just in that vein, when you say the goalposts are moving, are you talking about planning? Are you talking about building permit applications? So what do you see moving?
I'm not thinking of any one specific situation right now. I just have heard that sentence or that sentiment. I have heard it in relation to planning. However, I have also heard the flip side where, like I mentioned, the planning department has a pre-consultation with the company, and they agree to, this is the project scope, and so planning has that information to work with. So they say, based on what we just discussed, send us A, B, C, D. And then they go away and they work with their planner, or they do it on their own. And then they submit everything. And now the planning department is reviewing everything that was written. And now the building is larger, it's closer to the road, there's all of these changes that weren't discussed in that initial meeting. So planning goes, sorry guys, but okay, we can work with this. It's not what we discussed, we can work with it. Now we need you to send us E, F, G, and the business goes, oh. So it's a twofold, right? Because then they're building their business case and trying to make their numbers work, and they're like, well, the numbers don't work in this exact way, so we have to change the project scope a little bit. And to them, the project scope change a little bit to make their numbers work. Sometimes changes the reality on the policy side. So again, that's where I'm just saying, it's not any one person's fault, I've seen both sides, so. I just think communication can help me there.
Any other questions? Councillor Webb?
To the mayor, just more of a comment. First of all, you do a great job, appreciate it very much. And I think I mentioned it before, your biggest challenge is, since Blocks is a rural agricultural municipality, it's gotta be very tough to find building lots to bring new businesses without taking farmland. So you're kind of on a perfect slope to begin with, but I think overall you do a pretty good job, and I appreciate all of you do.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Laura.
Hear you, Mary, very members of council, to Rhonda, understanding process, required processes is, something we are gonna always work on. It's an ongoing communication and, I'm working with, just for council's information and for Rhonda's information, I'm working with Ella and Danny and Julie and, building services on flow charts, visually appealing and intuitive flow charts, user friendly, that will hopefully be an aid for potential applicants in understanding the steps of the process. So I can write a lot of words, but we're a visual society. So we are trying to augment our processes to have these materials available to people. And I think you've been in discussion with our director of planning, and, you know, planning's always happy to have conversations about what tools would assist businesses, assist property owners, et cetera, in adhering to the process, adhering to the rules and legislation that we all have to follow about, you know, conserving agricultural land, environmental, et cetera, but also trying to communicate clearly. So hopefully these tools will also help. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Couple of thoughts. First of all, I can appreciate the challenge, and probably a good thing you did the strategic plan 6 months ago rather than starting today. That the chaos created south of the border and the outcome of Lake County, for example, create a situation where everybody's feeling a little bit unsure what tomorrow's gonna, you know, what's gonna fall on us tomorrow, right? Sort of thing. So appreciate that. But thinking about the strategic plan, I'm wondering how you balance the, and I'm asking this more from a operational, and probably should be, how you balance the workload on what I would call our urban centers. So I'm thinking Mount Elgin or Kempsford or Drumbo or something like that, the larger things, as compared to the on-farm diversified, which I call more rural sort of developments. Because in fact, quite frankly, we want to do both all the time and never miss a beat, right? And so I'm just curious, from your perspective, and I realize this, again, this is operational, I'm just wondering, that a balance that seems to be able to work.
Thank you for the question. So that's a good question.
I wouldn't ask bad ones, I promise.
The honest answer is everything about this position is dynamic. Each day is different. From a how do we manage perspective with a 1.5 person team? I would say we pick a focus point for the year. And that does not mean we don't know who's gonna call us any given week. It's a little quieter on investment calls right now with everything in the mix like that's going on. But how we focus our business retention expansion efforts is we pick an area of focus. So it's an interesting question you asked, because a few it has come up already that there's a perception that we are only working in the rural areas and not the built up areas. And I will tell you, that was our focus last year. Again, with a 1.5 person team. we can't be in the rural cores and in all of the rural areas all at the same time, so I'm happy to hear it come through in the sense like the area that we were focusing, manufacturing and agri-food. And this year has been, a little bit off like the agritourism. So a lot of that are like the rural backroad businesses. So I'm happy to hear that the themes that we're working on are being picked up as the perception of areas that we're working on. What I'm concerned about is that I hope there's not a perception that that's all we're focused on. We will receive any call from any business, anytime. Rural back road, village core, built up area. We navigate that as best as we can internally, but the short answer is we plan a focused area for the year because we have limited resources. So we will intentionally reach out to businesses in that focus area. So next year, we're looking more around rural downtowns and village cores. Possibly the year after, someone will say, oh, they don't work in the rural areas, they're only working in the downtowns and the village cores. But that's currently how we're navigating, is just trying our best to have a focal area.
Okay, so I wasn't actually asking that at all. I was just observing that we have two rather distinct groups, right? And with SWAC's wanting to do a secondary plan in Mount Elgin, then we're gonna want to do some focusing on how, what are the business opportunities there. And I know that the Mayor of Blanford Glenham is interested in doing that kind of work in BD and that sort of thing. And so I sort of, we have a service village, which is the best chance for certain industries. And we also have the ability over the last few years with changes to the official plan to do, and provincial policy, to be able to do more on-farm diversified work. So that says there's kind of two opportunities coming at the same time. And my nice way of asking the question was, Rhonda, just remember to do both at the same time. And if there wasn't any spare time, do more of both. Okay. So, second thing, and it has to do with the conversation we just had here. I was gonna raise it as well. I hear the same thing about, goalposts changing and all that. And quite often, when you get into it, what you find out was that the expectation or understanding changed.
That's right.
And so, my policy is always, when somebody asks me something, I always say to them, go for as much as you possibly think you could ever ask for, and then scale back, rather than, well, I think I can slip by with A and then try and add B to it, right? Like, tell us what you want to do, and actually come right over to the plan, and I can take a particular property, but if people want to rezone a piece of land, and I said, gosh sakes, rezone the whole thing, not just part, at some point you're gonna want.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that's why I think encourage you, because I think people have this fear that if I ask for too much, I'll get nothing. Well, that may be true, but you maybe get 3/4 of what you asked for, which may be all you needed in the first place. But I think we tend to, and since sometimes they're gonna be one of their first points of contact. And I know Laura will share this as well, but sometimes they sort of say, people don't think too small. If council is gonna support A, they might have supported A plus. So I would encourage you to think that way when you're talking to people. Ask for, and I'm not saying, just ask for the moon, but I just think if people are trying to squeeze it in too small an area, that's not gonna work. They're better to kind of expand the request and then have it, clip the edges of it.
I like that philosophy. I actually do use it when we're talking with businesses. I have so much respect for my colleagues at the planning department, the amount of information they have to work with and have to sit through. When I'm talking to a company, I will, and when we're gonna make that connection over to planning, I will say, give them like the big picture.
Yeah.
And then find out And then I explained to them, planning's role isn't like to like your idea or not like your idea, there, it's all about, you know, all of these guidelines and how it can fit, right? And so I'll try to tell them, you know, tell them the whole picture and then unearth the nose. Are they hard nose? Are they soft nose? Are they maybes? Like, kind of try to get like an idea so that they have more, so the business as well has more information to work with as opposed to this iterative process, but I agree.
So I think my experience has been that planning is far less interested in a hard no than a how do we negotiate to get to where you wanna be so that it protects the intent of, you know, provincial policy statements and the future plan and all that. But it also, can help people move to where they want. And I think there's been this kind of fear that, you know, I'm gonna get a hard no rather than a, you know, let's talk it through. And so they tend to kind of pull back from what they really want. And I think that's been wrong. And I think Laurel's been really like a little bit, not to go to your head anything, but my experience with Laura has been that she's far more interested in, you know, how do we negotiate to the center than I can say no and start going to.
Laura's very accessible. Yeah.
Anyway, Laura, you wanted to comment, make it short because we're running late.
You're amazing.
That's like a short joke. Is that a short joke? Because I'm short.
Short joke. Tiny supplies, get over it.
I think this is an ongoing conversation. It's an important one. Part of my background, which you may not know, is economic development. I led economic development for a while in other municipalities. I have the certification, all that sort of stuff. So I do understand it. I think what we have to communicate to applicants, owners as well, is that it's not up to me to say yes or no. We can give, or planning, I mean, we can give an indication of, is it supportable according to policy and bylaws? Is it supportable? The ultimate decisions are not ours, and we do, you know, communicate that. And we also communicate, people are welcome to apply regardless of whether or not we indicate support, because we have to adhere to policies and guidelines, and that's up to council and the committee. So I think this is an important discussion and ongoing discussion to see how we can best communicate process and some of these terms. So when I say complete application, it means something very different to an owner. They think if they submit it, it's complete. That's not the case. So it's about terminology, language, and communication. So happy to have this ongoing discussion. You know, my ego is through the roof now. Thank you for that.
You
Appreciate
can
it.
fix that.
You can fix it.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Rhonda?
Thank you.
Thanks very much for being here. Thanks for the work you do. And look forward to continued success with economic development. So
Thank you so much.
take care. Next one, we have Rotary Club of Ingersoll, Ted Commonscape. It's been a while since you've been here, Ted.
Well, I could come every meeting.
Good.
Oh,
So I for the public, and we let anybody in.
see my friends and you.
You got anything to do? Go ahead, Ted. Tell us about the request from the Rotary.
Just to right off the bat, I just want to thank this council for helping us out get that building in gear. You stepped up to the plate and gave us $10,000 towards doors and windows. I had no idea at the time. We kind of had some estimates and different things. I think it came in at about 16,000, the doors and the windows as such. And that 10,000 went a long way, and I really do thank you for that. Okay, right now, the Ingersoll Rotary Community Warehouse is up and running. Just to let you know, a quick update, we fixed the roof totally by replacing all the screws in it. We had replaced every screw. I think it was 7,000 and some odd screws in the roof just to tie it down, because for after 35 years, the tin had loosened up a lot, and that's why we had the leaks. And then we replaced all the furnaces that were shot, all the plumbing that was frozen and shot. That's toilets, everything was gone. It was vandalized phenomenally. Now, those who were at the open house, when we opened it up, saw the change in the building was phenomenal, especially the smell. And, it's really a beautiful spot. We have handed it over to the food project. The food project, has 8 different charitable, food groups that supply and provide food for those in need on, through different occasions. It's the Stitch Group, for dinners. It's the, interchurch group that puts, lunches together. It's for the schools. It's for, Cycles of Life that supply tables here and there. There's 8 of them, that now will be using this warehouse, to draw from. And so that, they're organizing the whole situation that will then bring in food from, the grocery stores and supply houses that can no longer deal with the skids of Campbell soups and everything else, and bring it right into the warehouse itself. We've just approved, and it is half in, there's a garage door in the back, because the only access would have been up the steps in the front of the gymnasium. Those that are familiar with where the gymnasium is, across from the senior center in Ingersoll. So now there's a garage door in the back and a cement pad, that is all approved, and permits and everything, so it allows easy access for bringing in and food out. That will be completed, I believe, at the end of this week. I think the door and everything's going to be implemented on Thursday. So it's actually running at a slow base right now, because they're now getting all racking in to be able to support all the things that are necessary. So why am I here? I think that at one point in time in my head, I was thinking that the food warehouse would likely be, you know, your boxes of cereals, your canned food, et cetera, non-perishable as such. But what the Cycles of Life and different things are, what they need and what they've approved for, they're putting in a walk-in freezer and a walk-in refrigerator, and 12 bench and upright refrigerators and freezers in the building itself to accept goods, perishable goods, that they can now keep for a longer time, which they never could before. It's hard to put anything out on the tables for people to get, because you had nowhere to store it and keep it refrigerated before. So now we're going to be supplying fresh fruits and vegetables, et cetera, on these tables. Well, that has brought on another need, and that is, I know that the senior center right now has about a $4,000 electrical bill, and I have no idea why. Kristen Boss has let me know that that's kind of what it's sitting at. That's none of my business on why it's that high, but I would like to, the Rotary Club would like to do what they can to pay for the utilities. And to be honest, we have no idea what that cost would be. Because we've never had a meter at the building. The meter has always been at Cami plant. And Cami said, you're only running lights, like, don't worry about it. Well, now that we have put in a request, because we have to update, it's going to cost $18,000 to upgrade the transformer that's in there. They're going to have new panels because of, there's not enough breakers to supply the refrigeration units, et cetera. So that whole upgrade is going to take place. But we have no idea at this point in time what a monthly cost would be. So as Rotary, we want to make sure, or help pay for those utilities, because the dollars that the charitable groups bring in to purchase food and to keep this functioning, that's where it should be going. And it should be going to the food project, and to make sure that those tables have the fresh fruits and whatnot that are needed, not necessarily for your charitable dollars that they're collecting to pay for electrical bills. And so we'd like to help out the best we can. So what I've done is put a request into the town of Ingersoll, into Zora, into Southwest Oxford, to see if there is a way that you could help support Rotary into paying the utilities for the food project. Like I said, I don't know if that'll cover it, but we're going to do our best to make sure that the majority of that is addressed and looked after. With Cammie's situation, I don't know where this is going. I really don't. I was so surprised. I had quite an eye opener on how much food is required or the need for food for the public right now to make ends meet. But when you see these free tables and people bring their shopping bags and they pick out stuff for their weekly things, you go, wow, you know, it's tough. I deliver 187 lunches on Wednesdays to Lori Hawkins School, and there's a lot of other men and women that deliver it to the other schools, but I'm just so surprised that 187 lunches are needed. And but you don't, that's not questioned at all. If a child needs food, they need food. And you can't sit there and try to learn something if you're hungry. And so your mind isn't on necessarily education as much as it is on food, especially when they talk about any extras they have when the kids ask if they can take them home to their kids that are at home. So you go, okay, so I didn't realize the impact or the need that was out there. I was very naive. And I'm seeing it now. And with situations with Cammie, that's only what we're seeing. Potential closure completely. It affects maybe the additional man or woman that is at Tim Hortons that is not needed anymore at Tim Hortons, or just the you know, it flows downhill that the town of Ingersoll is where it is because of 3,000 Cammie workers that buy goods. And so will it have an effect that's going to affect that single mom that's already getting needs a job and she's not going to have this. So what's going to happen with these tables? So we're going to have more people coming and we have to have quality food, and that's the food project's goal. Ours as Rotarians was to supply a building to help, and now it is to maybe help them out by making sure that the dollars that they raise by fundraising goes to food and not to pay the gas and the hydro bill. So my request was, I'm thinking that at least we don't know where it goes, but $1,000 a month for utilities may be low. We don't know. It may be low, and but I'm just trying to collect about $12,000, and certainly it would help with Rotary to make a donation to them to exclusively goes for their utilities, so they don't get caught between a rock and a hard spot with paying bills.
Okay. Questions from council? Councilor Becker.
What's the structure over there? Like, there must be an umbrella that has a bank, like an umbrella group that runs the building, runs the process, manages the bank account, manages the people.
It's called a food group, and how they were established, they have a board. And it's all set up, and it's a representative from each of the charitable groups that need food to supply to the public. So they have a representative on that board. And I'm also on that board as a representative from Rotary. I'm on the actually building.
So my question.
And it's, yes, sir.
Is why would we give the money to Rotary? Why wouldn't we give it to the group that's running the building?
Fine.
Yeah.
I know that what we want to do is, like I had mentioned, I know that if it's something that can be totally directed to utilities, then I have no issue. It doesn't have to go through Rotary. All we're trying to do is help them out with the building. We want to help them out by maintaining it. So we're going to, the other day I had a terrible scare. I had, they called, and they said, the roof is leaking. I'm like, oh my goodness, oh no, here, let the games begin, right? After everything settled, but how it turned out was that the folks that installed the furnaces, never had the, moisture line, never had it going out the building, forgot about that. And just had it going on to one of the lower ceilings, and naturally, they turned the heat on the other day and water was just pouring down through the. So anyway, but we're going to try our best to also look after that building and, they don't have they have a lease with us, but there's no income. And so what we want to do is, as retainers, is reduce that cost as much as possible. And I fully understand, it doesn't have to go through us, so I'm just kind
Well,
of
the only reason I add,
their voice to make sure that something happens.
we don't need, personally, this is personal. Yeah, I don't think we need every service club to come in every time they have a project and say we need one. But just from a personal perspective, I think service clubs raise their own.
Okay,
But it's just, and we can go either way on this one. And maybe the next one we can. I don't know.
no, and I fully understand that. I just know that, the needs isn't just Ingersoll, the needs are around, the county, and I don't interfere with Woodstock because they've got their own situation where they're supplying food to the needs, so is Tillsonburg. And we're supplying tables to Thamesford, or not we are, but the making sure that the groups are having tables in Thamesford that'll be coming from the warehouse. And you're absolutely right. We are a group. We do not have a business, as any social club does not have. We don't have a business that we run to raise money. So we actually, the money we spend for charitably is raised by donations or going to different municipalities or industries or whatnot, or running golf courses or golf tournaments and whatnot to raise money to be able to supply these things, and that's why I'm here.
Other questions? A couple then, the food project, the fishery will be up and running when the food project, the big group, when this thing is fully operational. We expecting that by the end of November or end of December, or?
It's working right now, like, it's starting to, they've just got the plastic skids in because of the floor of the gymnasium doesn't want to be torn up or whatnot,
Yeah.
so they're starting to move skids of food in as we speak. And they're distributing it out of there, some of it out of there, whatnot. It's going to take a time to get it all run, the racking, it's more rackings coming in, et cetera. A time frame that they want to have everything rolling by Christmas. I know that in the church right now that puts together 900 ampers to go out to families, 600 for the food, whatnot, and the Christmas ones are added to it. The 900 banana boxes of food, and they're doing that right now inside that warehouse, assembling those boxes.
So when the refrigeration is up and running, and to me, that's kind of the bigger picture here, is when we kind of have the whole thing coordinated. Councilor Grissom, we'd ask if the informant engaged if they could have a tour of it. And so that's coming, so I just wondered, they had hoped to have it running by the 1st of November. I didn't think there was a chance of getting that door and all that stuff done before then.
And then you realize, as you're aware too, of supplies, right? On how long things take. That now the refrigerators and the freezer walk-in ones are ordered, and I think that was, I think it was 8 weeks for delivery, and they ordered them a few weeks ago. And also the transformer is gonna be a little bit of time to come in for it. So yes, they're hoping for everything to be up for Christmas and in year.
Okay, other question is, when you talk about energy and power that's in Earth's area, I'm just wondering, no, I'm serious here. Is this something that Rotary should actually ask Earth for? Contributions towards, they're gonna be hurting from cans, but I think this is something that's right across, basically right across the road from their new Earth Power building. Maybe they have an opportunity, or I might suggest a responsibility. I think a letter from Rotary asking Earth to be involved might come, well, it might be well received. So, just a thought. So, any other questions for Ted? Okay, Ted, they said, I guess you weren't here. We're start budget deliberation back Monday. We just got our budget book today, and so we'll let you know before the end of the year, I hope. Okay,
Thank you very much.
thanks very much. Hilltop Park. Do we want to skip over Hilltop Park? We'll go right to Shauna. Shauna, come on up, and we're running a little bit late, so.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, I was sort of talking as I stand up here. Thank you very much for having me here today. So last year you supported us with getting new signs for our clubs, and this is one of the signs that we have. We posted at, so each club has a sign and they put it wherever their meetings are, so that, you know, especially new members or families not sure where they're supposed to be going for a meeting, can recognize the building that they're supposed to be at, especially if it's a farm or something like that. But of course, 4-H isn't only about dairy, okay? So I even post that at the Townstock Men's Club because I run my meetings out of there. And I got several new members that started the Apple Project this fall. So it was nice that they were able to know when they got there, oh, here's the building that we should be at, because it's not always recognizable. Okay, so thank you very much for that donation. We're requesting money to do our awards night. As you know, we have a bunch of money. Yes, I won't take the elephant out of the room. So that money was given to us to spend on all of the 4-H members, which the awards night is part of that. But there's also fundraisers are not as available as they used to be. And a lot of the clubs do their own personal fundraising for their own clubs, so they don't have to charge members for their projects that they do. For example, my Apple project, some of the funds come from the county for me to do the Apple project, so that members don't have to pay anything when they come and they try make all these recipes. Okay. Our membership did increase this past year by over 30 members. I'm glad to say we were 168 last year and we're 197 this year. Okay. And thank you to the Clover Buds. We have actually 17 new Clover Buds this year. Or I should say, we had to have a second Clover Bud club, which is 6 to 8 year olds. And so actually I had 3 volunteers that came forward, and you'll be happy to know they are out of Southwest Oxford Township to help with starting this new project. So we visited this area a little bit this year because they had connections in this area, so it brought other members and families down to this area. So hopefully we're and so next year we're already working on the Clover Bud program, and I only have 20 members in each club. And so currently I have, which is a total of 40, I have about 35 members already for the Clover Bud program. So I only have like 5 openings, and I know we haven't even started into the next year. Okay, but I have great interest in that. So which actually creates more interest in the regular 4-H programming. But I do have new members that have come. As I said, in my Apple project, I have 3 new members that started just this fall. So they paid their 4-H membership, which all of that membership goes to 4-H Ontario. Oxford does not receive any of that. The Mount Elgin Club, very active club in this area. They have 4 to 6 4-H projects a year, which is the busiest club I have in the county. I'm the communications coordinator for those that don't know. And so they're constantly running projects, which is great. They've got a great group of kids, both boys and girls. And so they are just finishing up their outdoor project that they had this fall. And I haven't connected with them, but they're likely to start another one here in the next few weeks. Okay, they have them Thursday nights. You're not aware of that. So we wanted to have the awards night, so the cost of the hall, we all know how much halls cost to rent, and so we're changing our program this year with that, and we're not having a catered dinner. We're just gonna have a dessert bar, so we're gonna have the awards, awards, presentation from youth who have attended, provincial opportunities. And we're having a live auction. The live auction, we, 4-H is about giving back to the community. So we raise money at the live auction to give to the food banks in the county. So we, equally disperse the money with all of the food banks, which, one is Tilsonburg, and, Ingersoll has one, Woodstock and Tavistock. And so we distribute, those funds out to, all of those food banks as well, to give back to the community. So, any questions?
Well, thanks, Shauna. Questions, on 4-H?
So tomorrow is 4-H, show your 4-H colors day, so wear green. I know I don't have a green shirt on, but I do have the 4-H logo on. So wear green, and so if you're interested in going to the Royal at all, so Saturday we have, the Go for the Gold team, which, I'm the coach for that. This year competing, representing Region 6. And we have swine there, we have dairy and beef, kids showing, at the Royal. So if you're at the Royal, see how many 4-H kids there are, participating in the Royal. Okay, so thank you very much for your time today.
Okay, and as I said before, we're starting budget next Monday. And, we'll be back, yeah, I hope we're done the budget before the end of the year, so we'll
Right.
make sure everybody knows.
And thank you very much.
Dr. Circuit, you wanted to say?
I just wanted to thank you, because you've come here, I don't know how many years. Seems like a lot.
Thank you. I know, and we keep asking for money, you know. It's all about the kids, and if we, can create great leaders for tomorrow, then that's what we're here for.
Yeah.
You know, I have 22 kids in the Apple Project, and, it's watching the kids grow and develop, and I can see some of them are, you know, going out there doing things. And in their community volunteering, that they're doing things, and I run a club myself, it's a community 4-H club. And we raise money for the Cancer Society, and this past year we raised over $13,000. We actually ran our own Relay My Way, because there's no local Relay for Life, basically anymore. So we raised over 13,000, we had, community members come and walk in a survivor lab, if anybody's been to a Relay before, and we honored them. And we had another team join us where they, had lost a team member to cancer on December 13th, Friday, December 13th, he's a motorcyclist. And we had our relay on Friday, June 13th. And during the opening ceremonies, during the moment of silence, we had motorcycles go past. I couldn't have timed that. But it was so emotional for everybody. Everybody understood. And it was a great night of gathering people together in the community. So
Just thank you.
you're welcome. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Shauna, we'll be in
Enjoy
touch. So,
Thank you. Enjoy the
I
rest of
think
your
it's
day.
a great idea.
I think it is
it's
too.
advertised as well. That's
I think it is, yeah, it gives, an address to, if anybody sees it, it's great promotion.
Okay, thanks,
Thank you.
take care. Okay, we're gonna just skip forward to, the Mount Elgin Municipal Office, Library and Childcare Facility Concept Design Update and Construction of Report. CEO 37/2025, Julie, please. And is it Aaron?
Yes, it is.
Come on up to the table, Aaron, if you don't mind, Aaron Engels.
Sir.
Okay, Julie will introduce and move on from here, so put it through.
Thank you, Mayberry, and through you. So the purpose of this report is to bring forward to council the updated concept drawings that have been prepared for the proposed Mount Elgin Municipal Office Library and Childcare Facility. This is to show council where we are at this stage. And I've detailed in this report some of the next steps if we're going to keep moving forward. So to this point so far, we have not gone through any kind of a formal selection process for working with a construction manager or who we're going to work with for design build. And we've had a lot of conversation about which method of construction delivery we would use. So as I've outlined within this report, I am looking for direction from council to proceed with step 1 and step 2 of the construction management selection process. This will allow the township to pre-qualify construction managers and then invite proposals from a shortlisted list of firms. I do note that the total cost of what this will be is not yet known yet. I have received some preliminary estimates and I've referenced this in the report, but we do need to go through this formal process before we have a better idea of what that cost is going to be, including the total detailed design of the product. I also want to note at this point that while there are concept drawings, there still is likely going to be changes to those concept drawings. And moving forward with this next step will help us get into more of those details. We'll have to do some further consultation with Oxford County Library and also with the Oxford County Accessibility Advisory Committee, and there will be some changes arising from those consultations. The other piece of this that I'm looking for support from council on is to proceed with the sustainability, energy and carbon conceptual analysis. We have received a quote from Walter Fady as referenced in this report, and this will help us understand what our options will be as we go through the detailed design process for energy efficiency, long-term operating costs of the facility, and also help support us in our eligibility for any potential future funding. With that, I will note that Aaron Engel is here from AEC Development. I've been talking with Aaron as well as Patrick Darby at Walter Fady about the delivery approach and the different options that are available. We have done preliminary work with SPH Engineering as well, and I have spoke with them as well about these different options. And they are also in agreement that they recommend we go forward with the construction management approach versus a design build. Primarily because that is going to give us more control and say over the different stages throughout the construction process. You know, we'll have a construction manager working with us directly as our consultant. And I understand that it will also give us potentially better pricing as different components of the build come up for tender, and each component or each one of those components will be a competitive bid process. And that may help the township realize some savings throughout that process. AEC Development has offered to support the township with step 1 and step 2 of the construction management selection process. So that would be the pre-qualification stage, and then we would have a shortlisted number of firms that we would receive formal proposals from. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have. And as I mentioned, Aaron is here as well. If you have specific questions in relation to the different benefits for design build versus construction management.
Okay, so, thanks Aaron for being here. Any questions on this report? Because I think the direction staff is looking for is, what is the, are we going with design build or are we going with construction management?
Yes, so from this report, I'm looking for support from council to proceed with the construction management approach and begin the pre-qualification process. And the other piece of that is to move forward with the conceptual analysis for the sustainability, energy and carbon portion of the project, which we can do now that we have concept drawings.
Okay, so Councillor Pickett, you're first.
I wanted to know the difference between the two, construction management versus the design build.
I think that's fundamental to this conversation. So.
Yeah. I don't understand that.
Sure.
I'm happy to provide context
Okay,
if I can. So a bit about me, I've been with Walter Fady for almost 19 years. So the last 5 years I've been president of AEC, which is our construction arm. Just so you know who I am. The main difference between design build and construction management is the financial approach and the design considerations. So in a design build project, typically the owner would give a budget and the design builder is to work towards that budget to accomplish the goals that the owner sets out for that build. The only issues we have with that project approach is that if there's cost saving opportunities, you won't see them as a benefit. The contractor will typically see those benefits in cost savings. And if they meet your minimum requirements, technically contractually, they've done their job. Even if you don't end up getting exactly what you wanted, they met contractual obligations. If you look at the inverse of construction management, it's an open book financial approach. So what happens is from day one, you know how much money the construction manager is going to make. Typically, it's a percentage of construction value. And every trade contract that comes to the table is competitively paid. And you go for the best qualified contractor. So you have an opportunity to get the best bid on every scope of work within that. The owner gets to see all those numbers. If those savings are below budget, those below budget dollars, the reserve goes back into the pot of money to either be used on the project or to be saved by the owner, not in the contractor's pocket. So to give you an example, I believe in Zora Township, they just built a multi-purpose fire hall type project that was design build. I understand there was some complexities and that they didn't exactly get what they wanted at the end of the day. And that's typically what happens with design build, is that the design builder gets to make the decisions on what profits them more so than what profits the owner. In my experience, we do 95% construction management because the owner gets to decide what they get at the end, and they get to save the money should there be savings on the project, not the contractor.
Councillor Perry, go ahead.
So, through you, Mr. Mayor. Or it could cost more.
Any project could cost more if we change scope.
Okay. So we'll have a budget that says here's what we're gonna spend.
Yep. That's right. And then you tender out that budget.
Your job would to make sure everything comes in the way it's supposed to.
Right.
What if there's gonna be overruns in any of those?
Yeah, so
Does that come to council to decide?
yeah, so it's the way the process I'm suggesting will work under construction management approach is that as the design goes through, so essentially the designer would be under contract to the construction manager. And throughout that design process, before you hit construction, the construction manager is providing opportunities for cost savings, schedule reductions, and trade, essentially trade opportunities. So who are we gonna bid on this job? So by the time we get to tender for the actual construction costs, we have a class A budget, so plus or minus 10% of what we feel that project's gonna cost. At that point in time, you go to the market, you hit all the trades that you can. So we have our trade list of 950 trades. You hit those trades for numbers. At the end of that, you get a final number. That number is budgeted at plus minus 10%. It comes in and there's a final cost based on the trade price and we select based on the bids that come in. The confidence in that number is quite high because those are as market numbers. So we've got final numbers from trades, we accept them or we don't accept them. Then you decide as council, there's a waiting period. We submit that fee as the CM. Say, here's all the trade pricing, this is how much it's gonna cost. And then at that point in time, council will decide whether you wanna move to the construction phase or do some value engineering. There's an opportunity to cut costs by changing scope.
And your fee is 10%.
No, construction manager would typically be for this size building between 3 and 5% of actual fee. When we say fee, we say profit, it's profit, okay? So if you're thinking 10%, typically in a GC world, 15 to 20% is what a GC will charge you. But that includes profit and all of the general conditions, so toilet rentals and trailers and temporary power, all those types of things. When we're talking about construction management fees, we're just talking about the profitability, because all the other things you're managing under a budget. So rentals are still in the GRs and trailers and temporary power, but it's managed to lowest price through general conditions.
Any other questions? Councillor Gillis.
When we did, through you, Mr. Mayor, when we did Fire Hall 3, was it design build?
Yep, I think so. That was, yeah. It wasn't first man.
Yeah.
Right, am I wrong?
Right, no, you're right, we did
Yeah,
not,
no,
we did
I
not
had
have
to
a thing.
stop and think for a minute, but it was, who was the engineer?
Val,
Valley.
Yeah.
Valley Anderson, please.
And they were kind of the design,
Yeah,
they
and
sort of contracted out all the building.
we did not have somebody representing us overseeing that construction project like this
That was a
with the
mistake.
fire.
Not the building is, just our operations. Go ahead, sorry.
So obviously, it being involved in that project, I've seen some concerns with what we did there, or maybe we didn't have control of whatever, and that kind of leads me to thinking going the other way would be a better idea.
I agree. I mean, that's probably
mine.
should, no. But my concern about it is, I know 3 to 5% is a small number, but my concern about it is that 35% on 100,000 is, why wouldn't it be 35% on 105 is better?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the, where we theoretically, if there's any savings to be had, we can have them.
Mhm.
If, you don't have a reputable company, they're gonna have 3 to 5% of the high bid, but although we're gonna see those bids,
Yeah, so you guys are the selectors of the bid, so as the CM, I would provide recommendations based on, let's say we're bidding out concrete, I get 7 concrete numbers. I provide a recommendation based on those bids, but you as the owner would actually decide, okay, we're gonna go for this one, to make sure there's some transparency on, I'm not just picking every high bid to make sure I'm getting my percentage.
And I apologize if this isn't the right way of saying it, but I see the construction manager is really a coach to the council on how to proceed on every step along the way. And I don't know if I'm overstating it, but that's.
Yeah, there is some complexity, so just to give you some contractual information, there's 2 forms of construction management, there's a CCDC 5A contract and a 5B contract. The 5A contract is when you as the township would hold all the contracts between all the trades, and the CM would act as a client representative and a coach, to use your language. A 5B, which is what I would recommend, where the construction manager holds all contracts and you communicate in and through the CM. Reason why that's nice is because you cut 1 check per month instead of up to 50 from a management point of view. And yeah, the other opportunity is that there's just less management. The whole point of having a CM is that there's someone that will help you guys manage this project from a transparent nature. There are functions and facilities within the contracts that actually put a maximum price on CM projects. So we tender the project, we get a final price, there's an opportunity to change that to a lump sum price instead of worrying about escalations and percentage of fees on escalation. So there is, all I'm saying is within the same contract, there is functions where you can add limits to make sure, you're not getting the worst price because I'm adding markup plan.
Any comment, Councillor Pickard?
Yeah, just doing some math in my head here. I'm trying to figure out what's this CM gonna cost us? I'm thinking up to 500,000.
For sure, right? Yeah. But again, the next question is, if you do 6 some, you'll never know how much you're paying for that cost. Right, so the general contractor, the design builder, you're paying them this exact same amount or more. The difference is you don't know how much they're actually making off of you. But this means CM, which is, I'm telling you, I'm gonna make 2.5 points or 3 points off.
Good argument, yes.
Good, anyone else? So I can see your hand's up, so. Okay. All right, recommendation from staff was that we go with the construction management approach. I think. Was that shared with the building official? That would be.
Yes.
Okay, so they're in favor of that as well, okay. I guess now it's direction from council and it's whether they wanted to, what we're gonna do with this report. So, anything further from you, Aaron?
Just in case, there's just to have more clarity, the step 1 and step 2 is how the procurement process is go for pre-qualification, so that's a public bid to the entire market, which could be all of Canada. The second phase is taking those people, you judge them based on their experience, their insurance, their qualifications. Second phase is you select a pool of bidders to give you numbers like fees on the project. So that's the 2-stage approach that I had suggested. So you're going to the giant markets, make sure you're getting the right qualified contractor, reputable contractor. Then you're picking up that pool, 6 to 8 bidders to give you competitive bids on the fee and cost and those types of things.
Good.
And that would come back here for council's decision.
Yes. Good. Any other questions on this? Not seeing any. Anything further from you, Julie?
No, I don't have anything further unless there's any further questions.
Like I said, I'm looking to council, recommendations in front of you. Is there a mover? Councilor Pickard, are you?
Well, I'm gonna move it, but I have a question first.
We have a seconder and then we'll get to the. Okay. Seconded by Gillis, okay, go ahead.
How committed are we? How committed does this make us?
Well, I think moving forward with these steps is going to give us a much better idea of what this project is going to cost us. We have a lot of preliminary high level estimates at this point. We do need to keep moving through the process to get to a point where we really have a good understanding of this is how much it's gonna cost and here's our financing options. I think moving through with step one and step two, by the time we get to step two and it comes back to council with, that's gonna be the point where council is really gonna say, okay, are we going ahead or?
That's perfect.
That's what I want, that's what I need to know.
Yeah.
Is step two, because, we gotta budget this building. And we're already looking at some issues with the 2026 budget, so. Step two is the key.
It is.
It's one of those things, I think there's certain amount of angst. Not just around our budget, but around the building in general, right? And so it's kind of and I appreciate staff sort of, I was gonna say baby step by baby step, but little steps forward. Rather than we jump into something and end up wishing we weren't there, which quite frankly, I think maybe happened in our last bill a little bit. Anyways. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, thanks again, Aaron, for being here. Do we have a motion then? Oh, we did, moved and seconded, thank you.
Let me just clarify, does that include?
Are you including the,
Yeah. Water fed.
okay. So the full recommendation, all right, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, that's carried. So thanks very much for being here, I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Okay, let's, Adam doesn't seem to be too terribly bad of shape, so, let's take a 5 minute break. And then we'll get back to the Hilltop Park and, by now we have no money left at all. That's the problem. Thanks for showing up, Adam. I pick on everybody.
I know you do.
Yeah, I have a high standing. Go ahead.
Hilltop Park, again, very busy park, not very often you drive by there, and not see kids there or someone there. In the pavilion or in the playground, this year we did have an addition of the beach volleyball courts, we put 2 courts in, sand beach volleyball. Been received very well, it's been getting a lot of use. There was talk of maybe a tournament next year, if we could find an organizer to put that together, so that would be fun. So I guess we'll jump into operating. Not much change in operating, just increase of $50, and that's to the fundraising costs, 6 to 650. The increase in cost for the Easter egg hunt is mainly driving that, and the increase in need for more. We seem to have more and more kids that come up for that every year, so that's good to see. So our total operating grant is 1,800, you'll see there. If you want to go on to capital, this year we want to put in a multi-purpose pad pickleball court similar to what Sweetburg did in 2023, I believe, Jim. There's been lots of comments in the community that they'd like to see a pickleball court there. So I think we'd really do well with that. So we budgeted 25,000 in 2026, and then you'll see the rest of our capital loss or capital needs throughout the forecast there. So with that, if you have any questions, answer.
Okay, any questions for Adam? Go ahead, Councilor Craig.
Your pickleball court. Will not have a fence on it.
Yeah.
At that price.
We were hoping to do a lot of the work ourselves on it, so we'll see what we.
$25,000, if you acquire everything done, that'll just get they'll get it painted.
Yeah.
But the fence will be on top of it.
Well, we'll take that and hopefully we can, yeah, I mean, if we don't get a fence, it is what it is, but we'd like to see something similar to what he gets it done there.
Any other questions or comments? Adam, I keep forgetting, I was at Hilltop Park there a month or 2 ago, a couple of months ago. And there was a piece of steel, like a rod that was about 16 or 18 inches, and it was bent over and came back down. It looked like a like a huge flip of some kind. And laying out in the grass. So I don't know that the lawnmower caught it on, like what it came off of, I don't know. Or whether the lawnmower caught it and dropped it somewhere.
I think for the soccer nets, we put anchors in them soccer nets. that
Could be,
on the back piece of it.
something had dragged it away, and I thought, gee, somebody's gonna get hurt on that. So I picked it up, took it home, and then I had to clean out the car and then put it somewhere. I know where it is, I think. Next time I see it, I'll try and bring it back to you. Anyway, it's just one of those things that happened to be there. I mean, wandered around picking up all the garbage that had been left. And this was something that.
Likely an anchor off the soccer nets. There's 2 on each one, so. And the kids being anchored on it, they use them up and then they pull the anchors out. For some reason, but.
Yeah. So, anyway, okay. I'll try and move right back there. Any other questions on the Hilltop? None. Thanks very much. Thanks to the committee for the work they've done. Any chance that some afternoon, you said you wanted to do as much work as you could, on a Friday afternoon, that the payloader may go home and scrape the whole area?
Well, that's a good possibility, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Just a minute.
All right, I think we're on to staff reports, so, clerk's report, CL 53, anything from you?
To the Mayor and Council, this report reflects the request from Reverend Rob Eston on behalf of Highway Pentecostal Church for an exemption to the Township of Southwest Oxford Life Bylaw 49-2021 to allow amplified sound for the church's annual Christmas Bethlehem Walk event from November 20th to 22nd from 5:30 to 10:30 each evening. The noise bylaw prohibits amplified sound and allows council grants an exemption, which also ensures nearby residents, enforcement staff, and the OPP are informed in advance. Reverend Eston indicated that most music will occur indoors with only minimal outdoor singing, which is unlikely to extend beyond the church property. Neighboring residents within 120 meters were notified. One response was received indicating no concerns. The church does this event every year, and the same resident indicated no noise has ever been heard from the church. As the event has a history of compliance and no noise issues, township staff has been able to approve the exemption, and staff will notify enforcement staff and OPP.
Any discussion? I've never had any complaints, with it, since they started coming and asking for the exemption, they've done it every year, so. Staff recommending, do we have a motion then? Moved by Dillis, seconded by Durston. Results council tells us to receive report CL 53/2025 noise bylaw exemption request. Received from Highway Pentecostal Church 584 Beachville Road for information for the council authorizing exemption to section 3.3 of the township's noise bylaw 49/2021 for the Christmas Bethlehem Walk event taking place Thursday, November 20th to Saturday, November 22nd, from 5:30 PM to 10:30 PM each evening, and for the council to provide direction to staff to notify township enforcement staff and the OPP of the noise bylaw exemption approved by council. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, opposed, that's carried. Santa Claus Parade in Mount Elgin. Any COA report? Go ahead, Julie.
Thank you, Mayor Newberry. Just very quickly, this purpose of this report is to seek council's authorization for the Mount Elgin Santa Claus Parade to proceed again this year on Saturday, December 13th. This is the same process and request that council received last year for this event. It has become a tradition within the community, and it will involve the coordination of some volunteers with temporary road closures and emergency services. So we're just looking for council's authorization to support this event again in 2025.
Okay, any questions on this report?
Okay, I'll ask.
Go ahead.
Does he have to get a permit? Special occasion permit?
No, does not.
Not yet.
No, so, no, we'll get to that, but for this event, no.
That's why this one's first. Okay, I haven't noticed one of those names, the company name here, is this company plan he's taking to plan this, or?
Fair enough.
I don't know. Well, it is a road event,
Yes,
so.
Santa will
it is our good girls if we own.
Santa will not wait.
Yeah, either, so, okay, do we move in second there to recommend it, moved by Thurston, second by Gillis. Result, council of township of Suffolk Circle report CEO, received report CEO 36/2025 Mount Elgin Santa Claus Parade information for the council authorized the 2025 Mount Elgin Santa Claus Parade to proceed on Saturday, December 13th, 2025 at 7 PM within the village of Mount Elgin and appoint Adam Cross, Travis Cuthbert, Mance Lively to the planning committee for the 2025 parade, and with the appointment for the event ending on December 14th, 2025. So on the 14th, they have everything cleaned up, put away, and there's no more. Okay, any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thanks, Evan, for participating. I appreciate it. Centerville Dam, CEO 35. Julie, please.
Thank you, Mayor. So the purpose of this report is to provide council with an update on the status of the Centerville Dam and summarize recent conversations that we've had with the Upper Thames River Conservation Authority regarding the future needs of the structure. We met with UTRCA staff on October 20th to review upcoming maintenance and capital work required at the dam. The Conservation Authority has identified that several projects will be required over the next few years to address erosion, structural concerns, including installation of gabion baskets downstream of the dam, vegetation removal, sediment removal, and other dam stabilization work. These items are considered essential to ensure the safety and stability of the structure going forward. There is funding available for this type of work through the Water and Erosion Control Infrastructure Program, which may fund up to 50% of the eligible cost. However, the funding is not guaranteed. If any of the work is determined by the Conservation Authority to be urgent or time sensitive, the township can levy the full amount of the cost, regardless of whether we were successful in receiving funding or not. We have reviewed both options with UTRCA staff to both remove the dam and naturalize the site, as well as maintain the dam and undertake the works that they're recommending. Based on the information that they provided, we are recommending that the township advise the Conservation Authority that we wish to proceed with dam removal and naturalization of the site. This approach is expected to be more cost effective over the long term, as it would eliminate the need for ongoing maintenance and levy costs while transforming the site into a naturalized community space. The first step in this process would be the completion of an environmental assessment, which would begin in 2026, and staff would continue to work with conservation authorities, staff to try to secure the available funding for that work. And we would bring forward more information to council as that work progresses. At this point, we're looking for direction from council to support this direction. With council support, we would advise conservation authority staff that we would like to move forward with dam removal, and that we would look at starting the environmental assessment in 2026. If council is not supportive of removing the dam and naturalizing the site, we will need to make sure that we've included funds within budgets moving forward for the different safety and stabilization work required at the dam.
Okay, thanks, Julie. Comments from council? Councillor Wade, this is yours.
Yes, first of all, I wasn't aware of that meeting, so next time you're gonna meet with them to do it, you know, I didn't aware.
Okay.
Cause I told the group in Centerville that if there was a meeting, I would let them know. So,
Oh, okay.
so from now on, I'll pass that on to this person when I talk to her later this week.
Sure.
It's gonna be a long process. It's not gonna happen overnight. We're currently doing 3 dams in the Thames watershed. We're thinking about it, Centerville, Embro, and Fullerton. And I believe the decision in Zora for Emerald Dam was made 5 years ago, and it still hasn't gone anywhere. So it's a long drawn out process. We have to deal with DFO. You know, when they check to see a fish or a turtle, it just changes what you can do and what you can do at a time. So this will be a long drawn out process, but I think as a municipality, we need to put a little bit of money away to do this every year. So when it is finally complete, and chances of getting the funding, it's a kind of a roll of the dice. You'll have a better chance getting funding to remove it than you will to repair it or to completely replace it. So I think the option that was mentioned is the one we should go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so actual removal of the dam, my understanding, that would not happen until after 2030 at the earliest.
Yeah.
So the environmental assessment piece is expected to take over 2 years. And then that would bring forward recommendations to how to remove the dam and what to do with the site itself. But the cost of that was around $50,000 a year for those 2 phases of the environmental assessment. There is some stabilization work that has to be done, so like the installation of the gating and baskets, that has to be done to support the structure, so that will be going ahead, and they've already levied us for that amount. But yes, the actual removal of the dam would not take place for several years at this point.
I was gonna say, once the decision is made to remove it, I would say anywhere from 7 to 8 years or 9 before it's actually gonna happen. To be complete, so. I will have to make that known to the committee that this is not gonna happen overnight.
Right.
And I kind of told the one person, this is gonna be a drawn out affair, so, and it does need to be, something needs to be done. So.
Councillor Durston.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to George, can you tell me, the meeting, the group of people in Centerville that want to save the dam? Are they gathering yet? Are they
We
meeting?
hope to have a meeting soon. I asked her to get 4 people, and I think she's found the 4 people. But in her discussion with the people that she's asked, they all realize that this is going to be
Okay,
removal of the dam, and it's not gonna be repair it or replace it.
okay, so they are aware of removal.
Because of the cost factor, right? You just can't afford to replace it,
Okay, thank you.
and even repairing it. It's just kind of like putting a big Band-Aid on, because eventually it's gonna keep happening, so like, just eliminate it and be done. But it's gonna take time.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Councillor Craiger.
I thought there was some concern that the dam might not last.
That they did, and that's why they put the gating and baskets part of it
Oh,
last
that'll
year.
keep it going.
That helps support, because if you look at the top of the dam, it's like this wide, as you go down where the water comes through, so the bottom's getting very narrow. Just because that's where the water's coming through, well, it comes through and drops, kind of splashes and it's picking away at the dam, so that some Gabion baskets were put in to help support that, but there may be in the future, before this is completely done, there may be some more Gabion baskets that need to be added.
I think they're being added, but they're not this year, next year.
Right, they are.
Yeah,
Okay, I
so that's gonna happen one way or another, because we're not gonna get the dam tore down quick enough.
Right.
So, okay, so to Councillor Durson's point about the committee, if they're aware that the dam's not gonna be there, then is their role really to kind of, imagine or to kind of influence what will be there in the future, as in, are we talking about a pond, or are we talking about something, I don't know, I'm just making that up, but.
they would like to see some kind of a small pond. Like Smith's Pond in Ingersoll, they did that little pond after the Smith Dam collapsed. Something similar to that, they would like some kind of little. And I know in Smith's Pond, kids fish in that pond all the time in Ingersoll now, so whether they can get a small pond with a few fish for kids, local kids to fish, that's probably what their goal is. And I think that's what they're doing in Embro. They are planning on creating a small pond for recreational fishing for the young kids, basically, so.
Right, because I think that's, in my mind, that's kind of important, the committee, if they're gonna, or community, we're gonna have an input, they should recognize that. Like it or not, the dam probably has to go, which I'm kind of disappointed about, but, on the other hand, we need to, if it's not gonna be there, what's going to be there and how did they get the influence? So, okay. So the recommendation is, we proceed with dam removal and the naturalization. So, yes, Julie, go ahead.
So I guess what the naturalization of the site will look like, we don't really know.
No.
That will come from the environmental assessment and if there's a community group that wants to be involved in that, I'll make sure that we let them know.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Anything else? Council, all right, so we have a motion to adopt the recommendations, moved by Way, second by Gillis. Resolved, council received report CO 35/2025, Centerville Dam update and next steps. As information further, the council provide direction to staff to proceed with toward dam removal and the naturalization of the site, and further staff continue to work with Upper Thames River Conservation Authority to pursue available funding and partnerships to support this project and bring forward detailed cost estimates and implementation plans for council's consideration as it becomes available. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, as swayed. Inclement weather policy? You anticipating inclement weather? Okay, anything you want to add to the report?
I've not too much really to add to the report. This is just something that we have not had. We don't have a formal policy within the township, and at times it has caused some confusion for staff in relation to what the expectations are and, you know, who makes the decision, under what circumstances are those decisions made. And this policy is just intended to try to provide some formality to that, so that council understands what the expectations are in terms of reporting to work, as well as compensation if the office were to close due to inclement weather, as well as the expectations for providing public notice and making sure that staff are available in the event that the office is either open later in the day or closes early or closes for a day, that type of thing. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Questions from council? Councilor Berger.
Can you explain the Everbridge system?
Oh, yes. So the township's emergency management program, we use an app. It's called the Everbridge system. It's actually managed by the county, and all the area municipalities have access to it. So all of staff's contact information is put into the program, the app, and then if we need to send out emergency notification, we can just log into the app, enter the message that needs to go out, and it will send it to everybody either by email, phone, or text.
Oh, very good.
So they use it for emergency services too, so I'm on that. There's some emergency county or township wise, they let me know. Okay, any other questions in this report? So this is for inside workers. We're gonna have an inclement weather policy for outside workers that says, when it's crappy weather, show up for work, period, sooner rather than later.
well, there are some differences, in that snowplow operators, it is part of their job, they receive job-specific training on driving in hazardous conditions and snowplow training, that kind of a thing. And there's also, you know, there are essential services and non-essential services, and that's something that we as a group would need to take into consideration as well in making decisions under this policy.
So it would seem that we have, two policies for two different groups. Or a non-policy for one group and a policy for another group. And I'm thinking public works, but then I think also, fire department, that sort of thing. Tough out there, it's crappy weather, show up anyways, so they all understand that, and then we know, you're the CAO. That was the other comment I had when I read this report, to me, this is the CAO, appreciate telling us this. But I read it, or my intention would be to read this as, this is what, I think is, I'm gonna do. And, just so you're aware, more than I need to approve it. So, this to me is a CEO responsibility. I'm not terribly worried whether I mean, if you bring policy, I want to know about it, but I don't need to necessarily approve it, but. Any other comments from council? Councilor Berger, you ready for the checking seats in the budget? So, motion to receive the or to approve the recommendation. Moved by Way, seconded by Durst, the result of council attends consult documents for CS 34/2025. Inclement weather policy is information for the council approve the inclement weather policy attached to the appendix A. This report as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Council meeting schedule. Any questions on that report? Do we have a mover? Moved by Pickard, seconded by Way. Result of council for Township Southwest Office to report CL 56/2025-2026 council meeting schedule with information. And further, the council approves the 2026 council meeting schedule as outlined in this report numbered CL 56/2025. Any discussion? If I remember right, you don't have an inaugural council meeting.
Lower.
It's the one down there.
No, it's on 17.
I know, it's the 17th. It isn't in the schedule.
It's right there.
So you're not adding it to the regular schedule, it's a whole other different game. I would have included it in the big file at the top, so. Anyways. You're the clerk, I'm not gonna argue. All right, which actually brought to mind that it is, next year, this meeting will be your last council meeting of this term. So you have 1 year to get everything done. And then meeting staff, like. Okay, anything further on this report? Do we have a motion then to approve it or receive the recommendation moved by Gil, second by Way, result of council subject action. I already read that. 56, yeah. All those in favor? Opposed, that's carried. Sorry about that. Third quarter budget update. Brooke.
The purpose of this report is to provide council with a summary of the financial activity up to September 30th, 2025. In comparison to our 2025 budget. If there's any questions specifically on any line items, I can answer them. I will say we are at about an 80%. We brought in about 80% of our general revenue already as of September. Overall, we are about 50% utilized of our budget. Anybody has any questions, I can answer them.
Any questions for Brooke? So my question would be, Brooke, anything in this list that you say, ooh, that's worrying you? I mean, in general, it looks okay. I'm just wondering.
No, I'm not worried.
There's nothing that,
It's not, no.
okay. Anybody else? Then we have a motion to receive the information. Moved by Pickard, seconded by Durston. Resolved council's Township Southwest Office receive report TR 09/2025 third quarter budget update as information. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed, that's carried. 2024 net surplus and deficit allocations to be transferred in or out of. Brooke, please.
Okay, so this is also being brought to council for as information on the 2024 overall net surplus. It is in the amount of $735,795.57. I have detailed each department deficits and surpluses and corresponding reserves that they will go into. It will be applied within the 2025 year, as 2024 is already closed. I would just summarize the large surplus. About half of it is investment interest. There's about 90,000 was made in on building permits, above and beyond budget. We had about 14,000 more in planning fee revenue. Roads operations was an overall 95,000 surplus. If there's any questions specifically about any departments, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions from council? Councilor Perry.
So I got the book out. As I turn to the reserves part. So I just wanted to know the logic behind putting so much money in working capital and tax stabilization, because we have healthy reserves there now. And I look at some of the costs that are coming up in the future. And I just wonder if there isn't a better place to put some of that money. It's just my observation. It may not be exactly the way I would have done it, but I think that's fine. So I just wondered, obviously, you've had some discussion with other staff. How do these conclusions were going to?
Working capital is, that helps with cash flow, with, that is where we'll pull for our large capital, projects, those sort of things. Tax stabilization obviously is for, to stabilize the tax, levy, when needed, and to manage cash flows as well. So that's why those are the two bigger ones, big pots, I guess, if you will. I think just knowing what is coming up in the future, future costs, these capital projects, that's why I've chosen to put them where they are.
So could we supplementary, Mr. Mayor? Could we take capital costs out of that at some point if we can to?
That's kind of, I guess, my thought was to build that up, because that's where those are gonna come from.
Yeah. I was just thinking about it.
Any other questions? So, Brooke, out of the two major ones, the reserves. Sorry, trying to go back to the page. The first one, the $378,000 surplus, was half that's interest.
Yes.
Okay, so
Over 350,000.
pardon?
Over 350,000 is interest.
Of the 381.
It's a combination.
Yeah.
But yes.
Okay, the second one, tax stabilization, which is the other big one here. Is that not a result of, we didn't pay out near as much as we thought we were gonna get dinged for a particular property?
Correct.
So that's actually, we had budgeted and have been budgeting higher. But it's become here, so we kind of got way, that's not gonna be the case in the near future. So I just, that one there, well, it looks rather large. It's actually a good news story for us because we had been very, I would say, conservative in budgeting for a worst case scenario. And once in a while, they don't get the worst case, maybe the second worst, but not the worst case. So to me, we didn't really anticipate interest rates going up a little bit, gaining some money, and we got a much better outcome than quite frankly, than I thought we were gonna get from that appeal. So of 743,000, I think you can say 450,000 of that was just, it wasn't a mistake of council or staff or anything, it was just, we have to luck out this time, so. Okay, anything further on this report? Oh, the other comment, Councillor Pickard asked about it, I thought the policy, or at least the practice, I'm not sure it's policy, I thought the practice was if we saved money in one area, it went back to that area, i.e. if we save money in fire vehicles, for example, it would go back to that, all part of that. And working capital for me is kind of the collaborative of operations, so. And I would agree, we're gonna need that money in the near future, so. Okay, anything further on this? Then we have a motion to the recommendation moved by Gillis, second by Pickard. Result, Council of Township South Office, Street Report TR 08-2025-2024 net surplus deficit allocation to be transferred in the 2025 as in 2025 as information and further the council approves the transfer of the 2024 surplus funding totaling $737,785.57 to the following reserves. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed, as carried. Special event permit, Denny, this is yours. CO 54.
This report introduces a special event permit bylaw for the township, which establishes a formal permit system for special events held on public or private property for which the township does not have an existing process. The bylaw requires permits for events lasting up to 5 days, where events are open to the public or events that are invitation only, where normal property use isn't necessarily being maintained. And it's expected to draw 100 attendees or greater. It exempts events being held by the township or any township committee or board. As the bylaw is written, it requires applications to be submitted at least 45 days before the event, with supporting documentation such as insurance and a venue plan, and may include additional requirements as determined by staff in consultation with all departments. The bylaw aims to ensure safe, well-regulated events that promote community engagement and economic activity.
Any discussion? So is a wedding a community event or an event under this?
Environment would be.
Wedding in my backyard with 300 people?
Yeah.
Okay. Family get together where my family, 125 people.
You tell township, yes.
Okay. Sorry, some of them are staying home. Okay. Anything further on this? Councillor Pickard?
What's the purpose of this?
There's no formal process in place right now, and it's more so to down the liability, would be ultimately, so insurance purposes for gatherings of large groups of people,
On our properties?
not necessarily.
No.
Go ahead, Julie.
I can expand on that a bit. We have had people come forward wanting to host certain types of events on their own personal property. And we don't have anything to kind of guide them through that process, make sure that if they require any, temporary road closures, if they're selling alcohol, if they need a noise exemption, if they're putting special event tents up, or if they even checking insurance, if they're having members of the public come. Such events, we've had somebody hosted a camp out over a weekend one time where there was quite a few people camping out on their property. We had another one where it was like a tractor pull type of an event. We've had people ask about having off-road vehicle type gatherings, weddings come up, and we just don't have anything to really guide them through that process. So we've been trying to deal with different parts of it independently, and this would just give us something to work with for them. I know that this would have to be a use that is not consistent with a permitted use on their property under the zoning bylaw, right? So if they were having some kind of a tractor pull event, that's not really something that's permitted on a day-to-day basis under our zoning bylaws, so then they would fall under this process.
Go ahead, Councilor.
So based on that, you're saying this is so that we don't necessarily have to have control, but we know what's going on and make sure it's conforms?
Yeah, we know that it's going on, we know that any health and safety considerations have been taken into account. And if they're planning public attendance on a private property, there is like risks to them. And so it just helps us support them in making sure that they plan appropriately and that they have appropriate insurance in place for an event like that.
Any further discussion? Then we're going to second to this. Moved by Thurston, seconded by Gillis, result of council township Suffolk County to see report CL 4/2025 special event permit bylaw implementation for information for the council approves and principal special event principal permit bylaw and refer to the bylaw as listed in the bylaw section of the agenda for final adoption. Further, council direct staff to prepare a special event permit application to form appendix A to the special event permit bylaw. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. I suggest we break for lunch now. It's here and we got probably another half hour or so after.
You better get a permit.
He's after you.
Yes.